This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Alira Dakwil of Sargatanis, Shadow Odegev of Lamia, and Saren Orimura of Sargatanis. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. And by Alamo City Comic Con, October 28th through the 30th at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center in sunny San Antonio, Texas. Alamo City Comic Con celebrates the artists that entertain us through TV, movies, comics, gaming, and cosplay. For more info, including badge prices, celebrity guests, hotel accommodations, and more, visit AlamoCityComicCon.com.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break with your hosts, Nero.
It's a pretty brutal job sifting through all that darkness.
Kahlo.
Thank you, asshole.
Juxtaposition.
I'm kind of a favorite around here.
Ascalia.
Come on, man. Haven't we ever had an uncomfortable silence or an awkward fart on a road trip?
And Mika.
I certainly don't know what butthurt means.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode number 67.
Oh, shit, son.
Dude, the number just keeps climbing. Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in live here at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. We are, of course, live from Eorzea. If you'd like to join us, we are on the Sargatanis server, and you can join us at the LBR headquarters and free company house at the Goblet, Plot 30 in the 5th Ward. Please join us live each and every single Sunday here on twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. Happy to have you guys along. Excited for this Sunday. We got a lot to talk about here on the show today. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. And we want to take your calls. We want to hear from you. We're going to be talking all about patch 3.3. And we want to know what you feel about it. How do you feel about the Weeping City of Mhcah? Mhcah. That's how you say it, right?
Yeah. Sure.
No, it's my cock. That's what it is. With the Weeping City of Mhcah.
Just cock.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it like you're like from deep Boston, right? Mhcah.
Oh, they kicked me macaque.
Mhcah. So. We want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Now, normally we've got Kooky standing by to take your calls, but not this week.
No, Kooky decides to be lazy this week.
No. Kooky is out at the Los Angeles Convention Center covering E3 for Final Encountercast. Now, the thing is that when we wrap up this show, we're going to do the quick dash over to twitch.tv/Final Encountercast, where we're going to be rebroadcasting the EA conference that starts at 4 p.m. So we hope that you'll join us over there at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. Hang out, chat along with us, and then give us a call after the conference wraps up. We want to take your calls. We're going to be doing this with all of the E3 conferences, as well as checking in with Kooky, who is live at the E3 show floor, getting interviews, checking out all of the cool stuff there. We're going to be checking in with her as the show progresses. You're not going to want to miss that. Also, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast doing the same thing for the Bethesda presentation. So we hope that you'll make plans to join us over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. Countercast. That does preempt an official show. We're going to be cobbling together all of our post-show analysis, as well as Kooky Persona's exclusive interviews live from the E3 show floor to present to you guys next week over at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. And so we're super excited to be covering E3 for the very first time. And of course, there's no one that we trust more with this duty than Kooky, and she's going to be doing a great job. So Juxta is going to be back manning the phones today, but we do want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. LimitBreakRadio.com/Discord is how you call in, and we really want to hear from you about patch 3.3. This has been a very polarizing patch in the community because of some of the difficulty associated with what would normally be assumed to be casual content.
It's awesome.
It's
Casual
Oh, well, we will talk about that. We'll get to that all in time. But of course,
Hildebrand is so hard, guys.
But of course, joining me, we have traded in one Kahlo Landis, and we have gotten back an Ascalia, as well as Nika. Welcome back from your guys' week off.
I feel like we still got the lesser end of this deal.
How?
Last week must have just been like anger and bitterness all week.
So, Ascalia, you were out at Colossal Con.
Yep, I was out at Colossal Con in Sandusky, Ohio.
Cosplaying a pretty impressive Squall.
Thank you.
I gotta say, that I was pretty impressed by that.
That Squall cosplay came together at the very last minute.
As the best things do.
Yeah.
And Nika, you were out at Awesome Con.
Yes, I was.
So did you guys have a good time?
Was it awesome?
Was it awesome?
It is always awesome.
It's always awesome.
I heard you were there for like 30 minutes.
30. No, on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Friday is even
Because I had to work. Well, I had to work on Friday, and then the Metro was being stupid, and I couldn't find any of my costume pieces, and I wanted to cry. So
Jesus, did you even try?
the DC Metro is doing this whole like, hey, everything's fucked up, so we're trying to fix it, but we're calling it something froofy like Safe Track Project.
Oh,
and
God.
so basically for like the rest
Urban
of forever,
development.
Yeah.
Yay!
So like everything's running really slow. They're single tracking, and Metro closes at midnight every day of the week. It's really stupid. So
Oh my God.
yeah,
So
it's really
DC.
changing a lot of summer plans in the DC area. So it really sucks.
My sister lives in that area, so yeah, I know all about that.
God, Safe
Yeah.
Track.
Safe Track. Yep.
yeah,
Because
there
like
it
within the
is.
last so many months, like how many times has something exploded or a station has to be evacuated or something catches on fire like every couple days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now
Okay, well,
they're
see-
fixing it.
You see, they're taking steps to prevent that, so you should be happy. Maybe.
Yeah.
As long as that's what it actually does.
Hey, it's government contracted work. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
It's always great.
That always ends well. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
I feel like that intro should be a lot longer.
You think?
Yeah, like another 30, 45 seconds.
Well, we could just let it play for 30, 45 seconds.
Well,
We're not even to 30 seconds. We're at 20 seconds.
We need drops and just talking.
we need to
just
have-
pointless
Yeah.
drops.
Yeah.
We need to have the cameras on us while it's going too.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
really
just
the
on
key.
Kali.
Well, I can
Kali.
I can fix
Scalia.
all of that. I can fix all of that.
Just turn the webcams on just when the news starts.
Anira, did you hear a patch came out this week?
Patch did come out this week. We're going to be talking all about that here on the show today. But, of course, this is E3 weekend, and Final Fantasy XIV will be out at E3. If you're going to be out there, they're going to have the Sephiroth Challenge out there, as well as a letter from the producer live. That's Wednesday, June 15th. It's coming up this week, guys. And, of course, that will be at the YouTube and Twitch locations. And they've got a T-shirt for the Sephiroth Challenge, which, gotta say, that's one of the cooler T-shirts. I like my Odin one. I do. I definitely like my Odin one. But that one is pretty badass. And there's also going to be the debut of the Fat Chocobo statue that attendees will be able to climb atop for photo opportunities. The statue will be placed front and center at the E3 South Hall lobby for attendees to take memorable photos with. After E3, the beloved Fat Chocobo will need to get prepared for his appearance in October. Sounds like that's going to be following us to FanFest. Yes!
They need a lot of disinfectant.
Yeah.
What's the over-under on someone breaking part of the Fat Chocobo statue?
I wonder if there's a weight limit. Does Fat Chocobo have... I mean, there's got to be, right?
It's gotta be. I mean, is it like the size of an actual mount so we get to like ride on it, or is it like...
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I said climb atop it, right?
Yeah,
they did say that. Yeah.
But it could mean that it's like the size of a room, and you just climb on top of it and like stand on it.
Size of a room?
But I mean like bigger than an actual. I mean,
That'd be a huge statue. How do they get that?
Hang on, let me try to get a sense of size here, Nika. Is it bigger or smaller than a bread box? The size of a room.
It could be bigger than like a mount, like something you just climb on, but that would be very dangerous, I suppose.
Oh, well.
All I know is that
someone's falling and breaking their neck.
You've seen the Fat Chocobo? He is the size of a room.
Yeah, that's true.
That Fat Chocobo is going to get a lot of action.
So Square Enix also announced probably maybe the second coolest contest, because the Heavensward Music Contest was very, very cool. But I am so into this. They have announced a gear design contest for tank armor.
Okay, I'm going to throw out that I feel like the tank armor is the only armor that's ever cool looking, so why wouldn't we design the ones that always suck?
I disagree.
DPS armor looks cool. What are you talking about?
She says this as a paladin. There's already way too much paladin-themed armor.
I feel like, look at the tank armor, and then look at the stuff that, like, Dragoon or Bard gets. I feel like tank armor is always way cooler.
Okay, for starters, Bard armor is among the best armor in the game, bar none. Secondly, if you're going to make that argument, say caster gear, because that's always fucking robes, and specifically healer gear,
so I feel like
always white.
Either we should get the ones that actually need a redesign, or we should get a contest for all different types.
A healer edition would have been cool, but it does say tank edition, so I imagine we'll see this contest again for another role.
I bet that we will.
I hope so.
Just starting with tank.
So yeah, it's tank gear you'd like to see in Final Fantasy XIV. That's the theme.
So you're excited about it, but you know what's going to win. It's going to be something garbage and stupid, and you're going to hate it.
It can't be any stupider than the Yokai Watch themed armor that they showed off.
Is that the bar you want to set?
It can't be any stupider than that. No, I think that this is cool. I think that
challenge accepted.
I think that there's some remarkably creative people in the FF14 community, and I can't wait to see what they come up with. I think that this is really exciting. So
I sent someone hearkening back to Bucket Helm.
Good on God, no. But good on Square Enix for taking a chance and opening that up to their community. If you want,
you know what's gonna win? It's just gonna be like some kind of fucking like rehash from another Final Fantasy game.
Are we jaded?
No, it can't be. Come on, why would they? No, that can come so easily from inside Square Enix.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're like,
no, that would be dumb. It would have to.
Oh yeah, Skull is pretty cool. Let's add his glamour in there.
No.
Oh, I'm sure we will get Squall's glamour. But
That's the thing. Yeah, nobody needs to give that to Square Enix. They can come up with that on themselves. Like by
it's already in the files. You're like,
have they said
do that
for
one.
sure that whoever wins the contest will get it in the game, or is it like only if there's good ones? It's like, what if the entire community worked together to make the stupidest armor just so we can get stupid armor?
I can't.
The winner selection, the grand prize winner, the implementation of the winner's gear design into the game. So a set of 4 in-game items, including the Noble Barding, Airman Choker, Mandragora Choker, and Bluebird Earring, are also going to be given to the grand prize winner. Those are also going to be given to 10 runners-up, and if you want details on how to submit an entry, you can check out the Lodestone for details, or a link at our website at limitbreakradio.com. I just think that this is remarkably creative, and I cannot wait to see what comes out of the community, man. I think the community is
when you think about it, the
creative
hairstyle contest was cool, and I feel like the ones that won weren't all that cool.
Okay, that's fair.
That's because they were easy to implement.
That's
like, yeah, let's do that.
That's fair. Those are that's what's going on for FF14 news. Again, if you want to enter, contest requirements are over at the Lodestone, and we'll have a link at our website, limitbreakradio.com. So this week, this past Tuesday, we saw patch 3.3 hit Eorzea, and man, did it ever make an impression on its player base.
Good and bad.
Yes. So let's start off. Okay, let's get this right out of the start right with the MSQ, but we're going to set this out. We usually set a spoiler show aside for another day to talk about plot lines in depth, to give people who may not have time to dedicate to clearing the MSQ some time to be able to clear it.
So
I know. But let's talk about reactions to the MSQ. Overall, was it positive? Was it negative? Did you think that there was enough? Not, were there enough cutscenes? Was there enough story? Was there enough exposition? Let's talk about just general reactions to the MSQ. I think that for the resolution of the Dragon Song War, that this was among one of the most anticlimactic story patches that we've gotten.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I do.
In terms of 3.0 stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yes.
So you're saying this was more anticlimactic than having a fucking Melee tournament?
It's on par. I don't think it's far off. I feel like it doesn't live up to, again, I mean, much like the other patches in 3.0, I feel like it doesn't live up to the legacy that 2.0
I
left.
agree in one sense, but I can't say much without spoiling why. But I feel like overall, this really felt like the end of the Dragon Song War. That like you could really feel, okay, it's done.
But
time to move on to something.
But the whole time in the ending cutscenes, I kept thinking like, okay, now something else is going to happen.
Exactly.
And nothing did.
That's what I was waiting for.
And but at the same time, when I was going through it, I realized during those cutscenes, like, oh shit, I have the wrong expectation right now because I'm expecting a 2.55-esque ending, and I'm not going to get that until 3.55.
Right.
I think people are feeling like this is the end of the expansion, but it isn't.
And it's not.
the middle.
So
It's
I
like
had to-
the end of a chapter.
Yeah, I had to reset my expectations there.
Way to spoil it for the guy who had to leave the country for work last week.
Spoilers, it's ended.
It's
Spoilers.
Spoilers that it's over.
We just said
We knew that going into
we're not
it.
doing spoilers.
Yoshi.
Yeah. We knew that this was the end of the Dragon Song War for,
We've known that for a couple
the entire lead up of this. Like, that's not.
Did you listen last week?
It's not a spoiler.
Stop trolling us heavy.
Yeah.
I see you.
Anyway, thanks for the donation, buddy. But yeah, I thought that this was a bit underwhelming, and maybe it's because I prefer, and this is I cop to this being my personality. I prefer downer endings or cliffhangers.
No, see, I do feel like I want to talk through so bad.
There
No,
was resolution.
There are a few things I wish were a little darker or sadder.
And the thing that's left hanging is so unsatisfactory and frustrating
boring,
frustrating from like a narrative or like a character motivation standpoint.
The thing they left, if I know what you're talking about, did you do the side quest chain afterwards?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and that kind of tells you something at one point.
So
what? No, it doesn't.
No, yeah, and that was going to be my second complaint, was that those wrap-up quests really served no purpose.
So
again, that the wrap-up quest felt like something that should be the end of the expansion, not like because it felt like your character was like regretting all of their life choices, and it's like let's reflect on ourselves. It's like, why do this in the middle of an expansion? Let's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. It was strange.
I enjoyed playing through it, but yeah, at the end of it, at the very end, you're kind of like, all right, now there should be more. And there's not.
Yeah, I did sort of feel like that.
You know why I think it was kind of rough is because you got that warning, like, oh, make sure you have enough time set aside for these cutscenes, and then it wasn't very long. I'm like,
it really.
When it ended, I'm like, wait, that's the end.
Way longer.
Yeah, the last time they gave us that warning, like that was an hour-and-a-half movie you basically sat through.
Yeah, like I got that warning like right before work, so like an hour and a half before work. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna not do this, and I'm gonna wait. And I think that anticipation kind of
Yeah, so that is one spoiler. When you get to that warning, don't worry, it's not actually that long.
It's not actually
it's
that
like,
long. No,
10 minutes maybe?
The quest afterwards takes way longer.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Way longer.
But you can pause that at any time because it's actual quest.
That is true. That is true. It's a chain quest.
Say that these cutscenes were going to be longer?
Yeah, they did say that the cutscenes would be heftier. They absolutely did.
In terms of voice acting, it was, I feel like.
And yeah, I definitely think there was a lot of good voice acting. And like after the big battle, there is a pretty good long.
I thought the lead up.
I don't know, man. I feel like there has been.
The lead up cutscene was really good.
Yeah, the lead up cutscene was the one I liked.
Okay, the battle cutscene was really well animated.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like the animation is falling off in other cutscenes, in ancillary cutscenes. Because I used to feel like FF14 was one of the most well animated in terms of like just standing there and having dialogue with someone.
Cinematography.
Yeah. And I didn't get that with this. In fact, there were too many times where I was like, this very much feels like, you know, like... I don't know. You know how like Oblivion, when they did dialogue, it like really took you out of the whole experience. I really felt like taken out of the experience by some of those moments. Like it was just like, oh, now he's saying something and then the emote happens afterwards. And it's not like part of what a natural character action would be. It's just here's the statement, there's the emote, next scene.
And the emotions too often were like really short emotions. Like it'd be like this big paragraph of text and then his whole emotion is like
right.
And that's it. Just like he lifts his arm one time.
Yeah.
That's the end.
Yeah. I've maybe it's just I've caught onto the pattern too much, but it's something that's I'm starting to notice. So
great. Now I'm gonna notice it all the time too.
Should we talk right about Weeping City, or should we actually let's talk about Nidhogg? Since
we're there anyway.
Yeah, since it's sort of tied.
Spoiler: Nidhogg is the enemy.
Yeah, it's tied in with the MSQ. That should not be a huge
battle
surprise.
Was perfect.
I loved it.
It was every single way.
Fun.
This has been my favorite storyline fight.
Yeah.
Period.
It was very well designed. The 3 phases of the fight. The 3 phases of the fight were very well done.
Yeah.
And I think it was just challenging enough that you'd wipe a few times, but like once you got it, then you were able to pull through. It was perfect.
My group, first attempt, didn't kill the ads in time, wiped. Second attempt, didn't kill the ads in time, wiped. Third attempt, did kill the ads in time, wiped anyway. He wiped us anyway, despite us killing the ads in time. It was bullshit.
Yeah, we lost at like a couple.
They were all dead 3 full seconds before the knockback happened, and he still wiped us.
Did you stand in the circles?
Yes, we did.
He said, "Fuck you, Dragoon."
Yeah, he did. Then the fourth fight we won straight up, but like
the joke there is that the circles you don't need to stand in them at all. Yeah. just so everyone's on clear.
Immediately our party was like, "Well, make sure everyone gets into one of the circles." We're like, "No,
that's not.
It doesn't matter."
All right, my biggest thing with this fight, the biggest like holy shit that was awesome. I'm gonna spoil one of the mechanics. Is when he does Akmorn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Like it's like okay, stand in the thing. Obviously the mechanic, or you see the graphic on the ground, stand in it. So I run in there, I stand in it, I run out, and then he just keeps going. I'm like, holy shit! Fuck that! I'm sorry.
I was like,
sorry.
That screws everyone at least once. Where you're like, all right, there's the explosion and spread out again. No, don't spread out again.
That wouldn't have confused you. Just saying.
What's that?
In T13, his Akmorns, like the first time he does Akmorn, he does 1, and the next time he does Akmorn, he does 2, then he does 3. He does like
but Nidhogg's doing like 5 off the rip.
Yeah,
right off the rip. So
he has a lot of hate towards you.
Nika, have you stepped into EX yet?
No,
not
yet. My group decided to just fuck around with raiding instead of.
Now let me tell you something. Taking a look at those weapons, I think that there's some pretty serious incentive for me stepping into EX for the first time in a long time.
They look so cool.
The weapons are really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I really enjoy the way the fight was designed. Yeah. Even though it was a square arena, they did do some newer things with just I mean the DPS check is pretty tight. I'm kind of interested to see what happens in EX.
The DPS check actually felt like a DPS check, which was nice. And just when you get into that last phase and you're just doing his like tail whip move and then his wing one, like it does feel like you guys are moving like in a panic state. It felt fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a well-designed fight. Some people have been struggling with it, and I don't
Tough.
know. I
just do it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, we didn't do it with Pugs. We did it with LBR folks, and we were able to clear it, within 3 or 4 goes.
I did it with Pugs.
X
First
mode?
group cleared.
Yeah.
Wow,
Same.
nice.
Yeah, I heard X mode was pretty easy.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like just from people like in Party Finder and in Link Shells being like X mode's a joke.
I know that it got cleared within like 2 or 3 hours of the patch drop.
The EX is always
the EX
due.
is, yeah.
But I feel like comparing it to like what Sephiroth X was, like I feel like this is an easier comparison like that from what I'm hearing from other people.
Interesting.
But I guess we'll know when.
So how about the music during that fight?
Oh, very well done.
I was awesome. Like, that was something we talked about. I was like, oh, please let Dragon Song be playing during this fight, and it is.
Yeah,
so great.
Reminiscent of the way that Answers does in T13. Yep. So yeah, very, very well designed. Visually, I thought it was stunning.
Form 3 Nidhogg looks badass.
Form 2 was specifically, I thought was even cooler.
I thought it was kind of dumb.
Does anyone else feel like it would have been like a really clever callback if Phase 3 there was a name change from Nidhogg to Fafnir?
Why would they need that? Wouldn't make sense though. In the story, isn't Fafnir a different dragon, or have we not heard?
I don't know.
He's making an 11 joke.
I know that.
No, but I don't think Fafnir is a name that's been taken yet. There are two more sons or spawn of Midgar Summer that we don't know their names of, but I don't know if Fafnir has been assigned. It's been assigned to a far lesser dragon than one of the big ones.
You think so?
What's the name of the dragon in Brave Floxus? I don't think it's Fafnir.
Not Fafnir.
It starts with an A, I believe.
I don't remember. But yeah,
A, not Fafnir.
Correct. That's it.
I mean, if it could, I'll cop to like it could be one of those random dragons that pops in a Fate. You know, like I don't know for sure, but it's not one of the big ones.
Fafnir, I feel like Fafnir would be one of the other two, like because we haven't had Jormungand either, right?
We haven't had Jormungand.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we have. That's in Steel Vigil.
No,
that's not called Jorm. Steel Vigil is the blue dragon.
Oh no, that's Eisgebind.
No, Jormungand's name was used in
Describe it.
The Midgar Sommer dungeon.
In Keeper of the Lake?
Keeper of the Lake. It's just a random trash mob.
Oh, yeah, it's a trash mob.
It's a trash
right.
mob. Yeah.
Really? Why would they do
Jormungand's.
that?
Yep.
You're right.
Have they used Vertra?
Oh no, I don't think Vertra has been used. That's one.
And I don't think we haven't seen Tiamat yet, have we?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have. That was
Tiamat's the one that's chained up in Azazla.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tiamat was the wife of Bahamut, right?
Yes. Yep.
And she was tricked into bringing him back as a primal.
That's right. So, all right, visually very well done. Okay, here's the only thing that I'm a little bit bummed out about the Nidhogg fight is that the damage on the bridge does not stay there in the overworld.
Does it not?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
After the fight is cleared, it should.
Yeah.
Oh, my stonemason work is really good. We're really good workers. They're really good. That's what Square-Enix says.
They're just
they're lazy.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that would have been a nice environmental touch, but and the thing is that the place where you go to wrap up, where you go through all of the Dragon Song remembrances, the final place is like you get a great view of the bridge, and it's just like there's nothing. It's just
they did a great job cleaning that thing up.
Same old.
Quick, man.
They are hard workers.
So, I think that was probably my only disappointment associated with that. And granted, that's a small gripe. That's a very small gripe. So.
Yeah, it's nice when that's your biggest gripe. That's good news.
But there are a lot of people who seem to be stuck on it, and if you're stuck on it, just keep plugging away at it. It
really isn't that hard.
No, yeah, it's not that hard. And
once you clear the DPS check, the rest of the fight's not bad.
It really is.
It feels like you're like, oh god, we're gonna get past the DPS check, and then it's gonna get super hard. No, it's really literally just dodge the shit after that.
Right.
Stack for Morn and dodge the shit.
Yep, pretty much. So again, if you'd like to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. If you'd like to chime in on any of 3.3, whether you're enjoying it, whether you're not enjoying it, let us know. We want to hear from you. So let's talk about the Weeping City of Mhcah. Because...
Or cock!
There you go.
Or cock!
Because this is, I think, the thing that I was most excited about for patch 3.3, and it did not disappoint.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah. First of all, in terms of like environmental design, wow. Is this an impressive?
It's pretty
impressive.
Best one yet.
Absolutely. I mean, starting off in the marsh, because that's pretty much like that's the body of water. That river is what ends up leading into the Silver Tear Falls. That's the body of water that fills Silver Tear Falls and the Keeper of the Lake, all of that water. And so, what is it? The Yafim Saltmoor is basically just northwest of where Mordona is. And working your way through the ruins as you're working your way towards the pyramid, just beautifully designed ruins, some very cool, not interactive environments, but animated environments.
It's just so varied as you go through it, and I think that was really, really good.
I totally agree, because the way that it starts just out in sort of marshland, and then very quickly moves to ruins, and then you move through ruins into the pyramid, and then you get that distinctly void arc sort of design, and then you get to Ozma, and it's like mind-shattering.
Yeah.
It's amazing how well the first time that we did Ozma, first of all, my frame rate went to shit walking in there. It was like my computer was like, hang on, I got this. Wait, no, I don't got it. Wait, okay, I got it. Then we started fighting Ozma, and it's like, okay,
hold on.
hang on, I got it. Then Ozma changed forms, and then it's like, I don't got it. And Ozma completely disappeared, and I wiped the raid.
Nero's computer is like, hey, you said you were playing 14.
It really is a gorgeous fight, and the way that they use the second zone in Ozma, brilliant. It's sort of like if you think of Cerberus in World of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's like that mechanic, except everyone gets sucked in.
Yeah.
And the second zone that they have is gorgeous. The other Ozma that they have that you have to fight in there is...
you can see through it. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then just the whole battlefield, it's not a square, it's not a circle. It's just...
It's a donut.
It's a donut. It's a donut. It's a donut.
It's a donut.
And we saw a couple of different takes on battlefields in this expansion, or in this patch. The Race Vulgar fight.
Very
different.
Sorkai,
we're gonna get there.
Yeah,
So.
well, yeah.
Cool your tits,
I know.
okay?
Quit jumping.
I know. I'm just saying.
Quit jumping ahead of me.
Jeez.
Good God.
And the best part about Ozma is that, yeah, it's a donut fight, but then also the environment changes.
Yeah.
Into, granted, 3 squares and then I don't know, what is it?
And it changes
half
a couple
circle?
times, though. It's not so static. It's less boring that way.
But and that's the thing, is that the fight itself is dynamic.
Yeah.
The fact that you're reacting to Ozma's shape changes and phase changes, and that they're random. They don't come in any specific order. Is a brilliant design on Square-Enix's
Yeah, it was funny. We wiped 3 times, and it was always the same order the first 3 times, and the 4th time when we actually cleared it, we're like all preparing for the triangle, and then it turns into the cube, and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can't.
This is not what happened the first 3 times.
You can't pre-move for it, which is great, but it also gives you just enough time to be able to react to it. So it's not razor thin mechanics, but it is tighter mechanics than most people are used to if you're only used to running dungeons or only just ever running Void Ark.
We've talked about how using RNG can keep things fresh and make fights more fun. This is a great example of it.
I totally agree. And then we have the final boss fight that is, I don't remember her name.
Califistria or whatever?
Califistria? Is that
Something
it?
like that.
The hairdresser, wasn't it?
Whatever it is.
The hairdresser.
Now, what I find interesting about this fight is not the actual fight itself, but we had talked about them, the 3 statues. They look like statues that are chained up kind of in the corner. I don't think they're statues. They when we were looking at them on stream, either it was Kahlo or someone in the chat had mentioned that they kind of look a little bit like some of the
icons,
larger inhabitants of the Crystal Tower.
Oh yeah.
So possibly Alligans? I mean, Zand is way bigger than us, and that's the thing. I'm very curious about that, because they look a little bit like not Zand, but what was the
Amon?
Not Amon, the one before that.
Oh, the monk,
the one where you got to jump platforms.
Yeah,
that douche.
That guy.
He doesn't have a real name.
He does.
Well, can you pronounce it? It's like G's and Z's and L's and...
I don't remember what it is.
Maybe an E.
Are you sure about that?
Something like that.
Okay. Anyway, but, they resemble some of the models used in Crystal Tower, so, I mean, I'm very curious about what that's going to end up. Like, what the story is there, if we're ever even going to find out.
Probably not.
I'm kind of curious to go back and do Void Ark again, because I haven't in a while, but to see if anything is chained up in that final chamber in Void Ark, because I just simply don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I've just Void Ark, you just blow through it at this point. We don't really pay attention to the surroundings anymore.
Yeah.
That would be interesting if they have like high Allagan stuff there, and it's showing a bigger connection between the Allagan and the Mhcah.
It would be interesting. So, also talking about Mhcah story, guys. What did you guys think of the story? Now, again, we're trying to keep it mostly spoiler-free, but there's not a ton of spoilers that are associated with this one. I thought it was weak.
Yeah.
I feel like they built up that red chick as like a super badass, and then again she becomes a damsel, and that bothers me.
Yeah, totally.
That bothers me.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. She
was so intimidating and scary the first go around, and this time she's like a nothing.
She's nothing. Yeah,
nothing like she was in the thing in the past.
Yeah,
in the last.
Like she needs rescuing. And I'm like, what is the point of her character then?
Yeah, and no, there was absolutely no progression in like the Void story portion of it. It really only focused on rescuing Boobs McGee.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly what Crystal Tower was or Circus Tower was to that storyline.
Man,
this is like basically what happened in the first tier of the raid of fucking Alexander. Like how basically nothing happened. Nothing happened in Void Ark 2.
Yeah. I'm sort of concerned that, because Crystal Tower's story was so good and actually gave us, a lot of exposition on the world. And granted, they took us to a really cool location in this one, but I feel like we didn't get as much exposition about Eorzea as even we did with the Crystal Tower storyline. And I'm sort of concerned that some of the narrative qualities have started to fall off, given especially Alexander and now the continuation of Void Ark.
Especially considering like all the opportunity they had, considering we went to the Weeping City of Mhcah. Whatever place it was, what was it called?
Macaque?
No, the
what? Amdapor? What?
Whatever the swamp is called.
Oh, the Yafim Salt War.
That's it. Yafim Salt, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically just a new location on the map, and that was a civilization that was destroyed back in, I think, the 5th. Yeah, so that would have placed it right with the Amdapori, and obviously with Diabolos being involved, and now I guess I will hold his name back, but the other, who seems to be conspiring with Diabolos, also involved.
I like how terrible at his job he was.
I know.
Failed.
I think that's within his character, and I thought that was wildly appropriate, but. I think, given the presence of both of them, that there's definitely going to be a heavy Amdapori connection with all of this moving forward. So, I don't know. I'm interested, I guess, in a more contextual way, but I really feel like they did drop the ball with not only Boobs McGee, but also the dude. I feel like the guy, like, he's an asshole. Mm-hmm. Like, I walked away from it going like, dude, that guy's a dick. I don't like that guy. I'd rather hang out with Boobs McGee, But the one thing that I will give them is the area that you go to when flagging quests, like that like Sky Fort thing that they have.
Oh yeah,
that is so fucking cool.
Yeah, it's an airship built on top of an island.
That is so fucking cool, and I believe Kyle brought this up, but I want player housing like that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. That would be badass.
You want to solve the plot,
the housing crisis.
Yeah, the housing crisis. Yeah, you want to solve the housing issue. Then get sky plots.
Just house up in the sea of clouds.
Make it in an instanced area.
Yeah,
that'd just be like. I think it'd be cool if you could eventually turn your airship into a house.
Isn't that what they did in WildStar?
I don't remember.
It's just have housing.
Does anyone care? Did anyone care about that game ever?
People love the housing in that game. So.
Whatever. If you're gonna love something, if it's housing, your game has a problem.
Even the item that they found in that dungeon.
Oh, that's a MacGuffin.
It is.
They didn't do much with it. I
actually thought it was really cool how, the last boss, Califistri or whatever, was basically using the MacGuffin against us, and then we beat her, and then we take it.
And we take it.
Yeah. I thought that was actually really cool, because that never happens in dungeons where the bad guy is guarding something. But if I was a bad guy and I was guarding something, I would use the something I'm guarding to help me protect the something.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. If it has power, why not use it?
Right?
Yeah. Good point.
It is weird to have a patch come like this and kind of on all fronts, the story's kind of the weaker side of it. That's not FF14.
It is strange specifically for FF14.
Right. Usually it's the gameplay is but the story is great.
Yeah.
This time the gameplay, almost on all accounts, is really good.
But it's following in the footsteps of everything that's happened in this patch. In this whole cycle, like I've been saying, everything's falling flat.
I don't want to say that that's 100% objectively true, but we're getting close to it.
I don't want to agree with the intern.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say that was my idea.
It was your idea. Good job.
All right. So let's talk about the difficulty of Mhcah.
You mean the difficulty of Ozma?
Not just Ozma. The fight before
boss.
it. No, the first. I haven't.
The only ones we wiped on were Ozma and the final boss. The other ones were easy peasy.
No, I've had parties wipe on the second boss.
I've wiped on every single boss twice to 4 times, but
I don't think I've ever wiped on the first one. I don't think I've ever wiped on the spider.
I think I wiped one. Well, did I wipe on the boss?
Some parties don't understand that one whole party has to go down there underneath to help everybody else out that's fallen, and that's where we usually wipe.
Right.
I don't know, when I did it, we set up right up front, party A, you're falling down, and I don't know what goes on down there, to be honest.
So I thought it chose which party fell
down.
They
have a huge dance party down there. You're missing out, man.
It doesn't choose. You've got to kill an ad, and the ad opens up a hole.
Yeah.
And then
because I'm pretty sure my party fell and we didn't do anything. We just fell.
Maybe it does choose.
Really?
I don't know.
I never
Or
fell.
maybe I just didn't understand what was going on.
I fell once. It was right after an ad died, and I just figured that it opened a hole in the web.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the hole that opens up in the web.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never actually tried going down there because I was party C, so I had to do bitch work. I didn't get to do the
kill ads. Kill ads.
Walk into balls, right?
Walk into balls.
Okay, I'm having a problem with this because Square Enix is training me to walk into orbs all the time now, and at some point there's going to be a mechanic where I'm not supposed to walk into this orb, and I'm going to walk face first into this fucking orb, and I'm going to wipe the raid.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
It's setting up a player expectation and then subverting it. I mean, that is smart game design. So,
not for Juxta. He's not happy about it. Look at that face. He's pissed.
He doesn't like getting balls smacked in his face.
Not if he doesn't get any payoff for it anyway.
I just walk into the balls. We also have a caller on the line, Diamlos, who wants to talk about the difficulty.
All right. Well, hey, before we get to Diamelos here,
okay.
Let's just kind of go around the room and just kind of address the difficulty, because I haven't seen a whole lot of like people on either Reddit or the forums or like anywhere official asking for nerfs or asking for adjustments or saying that it's too hard. There aren't many of those posts, and
there are some though.
There are some of them. They are very quickly being shouted down.
There's always going to be some of them.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, okay? Your actions while you're in the raid speak far louder than your words, okay? Any amount of bitching that people are or aren't doing does not change the fact that there are a significant amount of people who are going in with either A, expectations set way too high for Weeping City, or B, are just being total fucking assholes. If you are one of those motherfuckers who vote abandons on the first day after the first wipe of the first boss, you can get fucked. Get fucked, son. If you don't like it, take your 30-minute lockout like a man, go do something else, and come back and re-queue. I am so sick of seeing the goddamn vote abandon sign when there is 94 minutes still left on the clock, and this content is less than 7 days old. Get a fucking pair. Grow some goddamn balls. Understand that there are people who are still learning, and get some patience. Dig deep, motherfucker. Find the patience within you. Teach it if you don't think that someone else knows what is going on. Take the goddamn time, and if you don't want to take the goddamn time, take the 30-minute lockout. I will not vote yes on another Weeping City vote abandon. I swear to God.
But then you get the people who are the total opposite. Like in my run, there was one guy who actually was taking the time to like put, I don't know if it was a macro or he was typing it or what, but he like put in really in depth about every single boss. And then before anyone could read it, somebody would pull. Every time. And we're like, why? And he's like, I'm pulling on purpose for the people who actually just want to try and figure it out by themselves.
Oh, God.
Dumb.
No, if someone's there to teach it. Let them teach it.
It's called building a community, people.
Seriously.
And then after we wiped on Ozma like 3 times, and like then someone who actually knew the fight was like, when you get I actually doing mechanics, like when you get the meteors, one person goes here, one person goes here, and then the other guy was like, see, we're learning together, and I'm like, no, he just fucking told us the answer.
We're not learning together. He already knew.
Because we couldn't learn together, so he's just fucking telling us. Like, no.
God.
It was really annoying because every time I try to read it, he would just pull, and I'm like, I don't know what we're doing because I was only halfway through reading, but I guess I got to go fight now. So.
One thing that I've noticed, like people's responses, is opposed to like Steps of Faith, where everyone for whatever reason was just like nerf it. People come out of this are like, well, that was tough. All right, that was good.
And that's the thing. Okay, there's gonna if. First of all, I have no angry words for Square-Enix. Square-Enix, you are completely off the hook when it comes to the difficulty that you implemented
that is
with
not something
3.3. It's not often that happens, okay? But you are completely off the hook. Now, if you change it, I will have words for you. But eat my dick. And they may be somewhere along those lines. But the thing is that it is a very, very well-tuned fight, and I think as long as you hold to it, Square Enix, as long as you hold to it, in the end, you will see the community start to get better at fights that are more difficult. I think that this is a great way to start getting people to look at raiding again, because there is a significant amount of communication that you have to do, at least for the first 2 or 3 weeks, to be able to get past these fights. And if they don't lighten up on the mechanics, then it forces people to get good, basically, and we will be better as a community for it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything blatantly unfair in these fights.
No.
But you do have to pay attention and learn a little bit to be able to do it. It's a very well-tuned fight, and it does make you better when you finish it.
Absolutely.
And you have a lot of personal responsibility.
I'm just out of curiosity, has anyone healed Nidhogg?
I have.
Fight? Okay, can you tell me, like, that fight when we were doing, that seemed like it had to be stressful as shit on healers.
It is a very intensive healer fight.
It seemed like it had to be, because I was watching, our health bars just plummeting every few seconds.
Especially
like, God, that's got to be
one
brutal.
Healer down.
Oh, yeah.
Very tough. We had that happen.
Raise the healer.
I did after I had to get everybody else, back to full health.
A second boss in Mhcah has got to be...
Isn't there some...
There's a tornado mechanic. It's one of those that takes everyone down to 1 HP.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, like, the healers have got to be pre-healing for that.
Yep.
And if they're not, the tank is automatically dead.
You'll die to an auto attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or if there's a dot, you'll die to the dot.
Size, quick cast, Medica 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, that is, I think, the thing that wiped us more than the zombie mechanic.
Yeah.
Was that goddamn wind.
People could not do Megadeth at all in my group.
Megadeth, yeah, that's the one tough mechanic in the second boss. First one's pretty straightforward. I don't think that there is, unless you just have a party that doesn't kill on the bottom floor. But other than that, I mean, like, it really is Ozma. And the fact that I didn't clear Ozma first night, that I didn't clear Weeping City first night, that I love that.
It's refreshing.
I think that's fantastic. The fact that, like, there's not a preconceived notion that I'm going to clear it when I go into these things.
That's a good feeling to have.
If Square Enix wants to, like, if this is going to be their standard of difficulty for this kind of content, that's awesome.
I think that it is awesome.
This is a great spot.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think that Square Enix should hold to it. I mean, they ramped up the difficulty with Nidhogg normal, I would say, from Sephiroth EX, or Sephiroth normal. You know what I mean? Like, I think that difficulty got bumped up, even if the EX maybe had been tuned down a little bit.
I mean, think about, like, how it's gone. It's gone from Thornton to Sephiroth to Nidhogg, and just, it's gotten harder every time.
Yeah, I agree.
And think about it, like, in 2, 3, 4 weeks, everyone's item level is just going to keep getting pushed higher.
That is
and
also
higher.
true.
So
that is also true.
This first week should be the hardest it's ever going to be. So
yeah, that DPS check will lax as the gear. Improves,
you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, let's go to our phone lines. We've got Diamelos on the line to talk about the Weeping City of Mhcah. What's up, Diamelos?
Hey, I pretty much agree with everything you guys have been saying.
All right, well, thanks for having us. Thanks
for coming on the show. That's a great call.
Right, see you later.
This is the first 24-man where I'm not falling asleep 10 minutes into the raid.
It's true. I mean, it really does kind of force you to pay attention, if nothing else. Because, like, how many fucking mechanics can you face roll in? Void Arc. Yeah,
all of them.
Most of them.
The last couple of times I've done Void Arc, I've main tanked it on Warrior in Deliverance while watching something on my second monitor and not paying attention at all.
Yeah, outside of getting hit with, like, Kushalane's Bile, is there anything that's gonna just wipe you guys? I don't think so.
Don't get vomited on.
Yeah, that's literally it at this point, I think.
Totally agree.
The first time I went into Mhcah, though, I had this Dragoon that kept dying, and it was funny until we got to Ozma, where he stacked meteors 5 times and wiped the raid every single time. We ended up having to abandon with 10 minutes left.
Couldn't you vote dismiss him for second? Like if it was just him wiping, just vote dismiss him.
Yeah, there you go.
Vote dismiss him for harassment.
It's like I get like learning, but either the guy was just not paying attention at all, or was a really dedicated troll.
We had in our Nidhogg fight, we had a black mage who was literally wiping on everything, just dying over and over again. And in the third fight, I'm like, all right, I want you to stop focusing on your DPS. I want you to just slam buttons and literally just watch where you're standing. Just watch and pay attention to that. And 2 fights later, this person was dodging all the shit and back doing their DPS again.
So you gave the Piccolo speech to Gohan.
Dodge! Exactly.
I've actually been trying to do X, and that seems to be the biggest problem people have is dodging, because most of the stuff that has indicators in story mode don't have indicators in X.
Ooh, interesting. That's an interesting...
So you have to pay attention to what he's casting and where he's at.
Wow.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. That's kind of a neat...
I want to strangle whoever came up with the stand in circles strategy, because every time there's one guy, it's like, we need to stand in circles. Like, no, you need to DPS harder.
Okay, no, you see, that's the thing. Like, Square-Enix is training us to stand in circles.
I've never even heard of that. What are you talking
training
about?
Us to run into balls all the time. The circles in Nidhogg.
Yeah, when he does his ult, he puts all those circles down on the ground, and everyone thought you have to stand in them.
It's literally a
circle.
circle.
We never thought that.
It's literally a circle of circles. What are you supposed to think? It's like the most circle thing you can ever have.
Oh, I don't know.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And there's still people who don't know what the stack arrows mean, even though this is like the 5th or 6th fight that have them now.
That graphic has been in so many fights. Like, there is no excuse not to know the stack. They made it obvious, and they've made it the same graphic between every fight.
I mean, they really did make that so obvious, because they easily could have just had Osborne go
arrows on it.
They could have easily just made you
fucking arrows on it. I swear to God, if I see one more person that's marked with the thing and everyone's grouping in and they just take the mark all the way out, just bye, Felice. Just wave, everyone wave goodbye to them and never raise them again. Leave them dead for the rest of the fight, because they're useless. Oh my God. How do you not know this by now?
Because they easily could have just said, hey, you have to figure out that everyone's supposed to split damage for Akmor. But no, they actually put in the freaking arrows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's fine.
Or he's just a really good troll.
Just stand in the goddamn circle. Jesus. Anyway, Diamelos, thanks for the call. You got any shout outs today?
I mean, not really. Everyone I know is on Sargentanis now, so...
Yeah, Sargentanis where the party's at.
That's what's
up. You
up.
heard it here first. Shout out to LBR Free Company.
That's what's up.
There you go. I got my friend who came back to the game for 3.3 to transfer over, so...
Well, there you go. There you go. Cool. Well, thanks for the call, Diamelos. If you'd like to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you want to call in on Discord. If you'd like to shame the FF14 community as well for their quivering cowardice, fucking vote abandons, then go for it. We would love to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. What do you guys think of the armor, like the rewards?
It's good.
I mean,
it's better than Void Arc.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Nika, I'm sure that you like it.
Yeah, they're all right. Like,
it's paladin-y. I mean, for a tank.
Yeah. I definitely like the tank piece, and I like the bell-bottom pants for the mages.
I'm gonna get those.
Yeah, the bell-bottom pants are cool.
I have to work with those. I have to make those work somehow. My first piece I got was the tank body, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chuck said it hasn't worked since the 80s.
That's what you think. That's because I haven't brought it back. Do you know who I am? I'm a community figure, okay?
Juxta's going to be there in those tight-ass jeans with the bell-bottoms next episode.
Oh, God, no.
I wore those pajama pants that have, like, the plaid pattern on them. Those were pretty sweet.
Can we get Juxta a pair of parachute pants?
MC Hammer pants.
Or do you mean like raver pants from like Hot Topic circa 1996?
No, I want straight out of Aladdin parachute pants.
Right.
All right.
I have those.
Do you?
I might not be wearing them right now, but yeah, that's the Thavnarian pants.
No, I want them in real life.
Yeah,
for you.
no.
I want you to wear them next episode.
Oh yeah, I can do that. No problem. Yeah, I gotta buy them, but yeah, that's no.
I feel like they wouldn't breathe very well, and just by the end, it would be like it would sort of be like the heat of a microwave hot pocket. You know what I mean? Like you would be completely like nuclear warm on the outside of your legs, and just not be able to get rid of any of that heat.
Nah, now I really want a hot pocket.
Ugh.
Why?
Why? Gross.
Because I haven't shit in a while.
Gross. So gross.
It's nature's laxative.
Yes.
No, it's not nature's laxative.
No, it's because they put actual laxatives in there. Anyway, so yeah. Overall, great marks on Weeping City of Mhcah.
Minus the story.
I think that everything else makes that pretty forgivable, though.
That's a good question. At the end of the day, would you rather have a great story and gameplay be meh, or kind of like what we got with Mhcah?
I would rather it be like Mhcah.
Me too.
I absolutely
Every time. Because the story's fun once.
Yeah.
This will be fun multiple times.
Yeah. Let's talk about dungeons.
Oh, wait.
What?
Plural?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the other one? We got Sorkai.
Hullbreaker.
And Hullbreaker Hard.
What?
Don't remember Hullbreaker Hard.
Hullbreaker was a long time ago, you guys.
Okay, so let's start off with obviously the more interesting one, Sorkai. What did you guys end up thinking of this dungeon? It was exactly as I predicted. It was a fight with kid gloves. We knew that we weren't actually fighting Race Valor. We weren't actually fighting Moglin. It was it was a test.
You are actually fighting them, though.
Not really. No, you're not.
Yeah, you are.
You don't kill them.
You're not fighting to kill, but you're actually fighting them. They're not like ghosts of them or something. It's actually them.
Yeah, no, it's actually them, but you're not. It's
They're
sort
not
of like
fighting for real.
Do you think they're going whole hog? Probably not.
Yeah, like
maybe Moglin was. I don't know. He's not very
Moglin
smart.
was pretty pissed afterwards when we beat him.
I want to kill Moglin and mount his head in our studio.
I'm pretty sure if we killed Moglin, we would never be allowed in the Sea of Clouds ever again.
Actually, we could probably do that. I'll work on that.
Who's going to stop us from entering the Sea of Clouds if we kill him? Bring it on. We're ready.
We're gonna get mauled by baby Moogles.
I did enjoy getting to hear Good King Moggle's music again. I like that they used that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the same as kind of remixed of it.
It was.
I think it's the same music that now plays when you go to the Moogle encampment.
Is it
in Sea of Clouds?
Yeah, it's not Moogle Mog song, but it's definitely.
But it's like
Moogle
themed.
It's like the Moogle Mog song with instruments in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
So yeah, Sorkai, I did like the fight against Race Valor because they changed up the arena.
So interesting.
Except, did they?
Didn't they?
No, they don't, dude. Like, it was so funny. We were just standing there, and then all of a sudden, Surin just is falling to his doom, like 80% left in the battle, and we're like, bye.
Like, wait, you can fall off those?
Yes, you can. Well, you can't fall off them, but you can blast onto a platform that isn't there.
If you're on no, he was standing on the platform that was about to fall, and when it fell, he fell with it.
I actually
didn't get off in time.
I actually did not know that you could fall. But here's the thing, though.
And he couldn't come back, and the thing is, though, is it was easy enough that we could complete the last 80% without the top DPS. So, you know.
It wasn't a hard fight.
Can anyone explain to me how that arena is literally any different from the Kraken? It's the same fight as the Kraken, just with more platforms, and the platforms disappear.
Correct. Yeah, that's different.
I mean, it's a little different.
It's riskier because you can fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that there was the danger of falling if you were dumb, I guess. Or
like
Surin.
Sir.
You have to be intensely dumb, I think.
He's like, why? He's like, I thought I was just going to take some damage. And I'm like, well, why? He's like, because the thing is that it's hard to kind of position. Basically, Race Valor will follow the tank based on wherever you are. And like, he'll still kind of stand wherever is easiest for him to hit the tank. So it's possible that he's not in a very good spot for melee to hit. So Surin was like, well, I'll just take some... So he's like, I'll just take some damage from this AoE if it means I can stay here and keep hitting. Little did he know...
#stop the Moogle hate, Kupo.
No, we will never stop the Moogle hate.
That's never going to happen.
That is a font that will never exhaust.
Okay, so
little did he know that the platform was going to fall and he was going to die. So
okay, so I have a question, Nico. Was that like before like any of the platforms got
he fell off
destroyed?
the very first platform.
Okay, that's more acceptable.
That's fair.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you didn't
But still, there was an AoE bubble or like an AoE like rectangle, and he purposefully stood in it because he said, "I would rather take damage and get DPS off because I can't hit him anywhere else."
Well,
yeah. You know what? That's the Kahlo and Juxta school of thought. You know, do your DPS, healers can heal.
Nice.
You guys are the worst.
For obvious reasons, that doesn't work in this fight. But yeah, no, it's basically the same boss as Hullbreaker, but just it's different.
Maybe
just
I don't know.
A little different.
The difference. This was fun. I didn't care for the boss in Hullbreaker.
I agree. I agree.
Racefelger was fun.
Racefelger is a lot more fun than the Kraken, but it is the same arena type.
Same arena type, but they've definitely improved on it.
It was definitely, it was improved for sure.
I feel like calling this like the same or similar to the Kraken fight is kind of disingenuous, just because of like just the jumping between platforms thing.
But I mean, like, that is the same thing, though, isn't it? Like, you are jumping between platforms.
At the most basic thought, sure, but like, there's just so much more to the fight than just jumping between.
Well,
platforms.
sure. When you have a circle arena or a square arena, there are different mechanics that bosses are doing. But it's
so
still.
Are you gonna call every single other fight the same fight because you're on a platform that doesn't jump between?
No, I'm saying that this fight being praised for its original arena design may not deserve that merit.
No, see, I don't feel that way, especially because as the tank, noticing wherever I was standing that it really did affect Racefelger's position. And if I was over at like this one platform and jumped backwards one way, if a melee was on the other platform and then some broke in the middle, they really couldn't hit him at all. Like, it really depended on the tank to make sure that he was in between a platform where a melee could stand. Whereas with the Kraken, like, the arms are just there.
Yeah,
it's different.
These aren't even comparable to Kraken. Racefelger and Kraken are
like the idea of jumping from one platform to the other is the same, but other than that, the entire design of the fight is different.
when you guys say that you want more varied arena designs, this is enough to sate you. Like, this is enough to get that done for you.
It made
let's compare the Pegasus fight, because that's also like, people are like, oh, it's not a square or circle. No, it's a rectangle.
But the fight like just utilized that small rectangle so well. Like, they designed the fight around that arena.
However,
I think that's what we mean.
Okay. That fight would have been much more interesting if there was actually anything that mattered, that the freaking like wall could break and turn into electricity. Like, there was never any reason to have to dodge into that area. So it really didn't matter if the walls broke or not. Everyone's like, oh, don't turn the pony. We don't want the walls to break. Why? Like, if the walls break and it turns into electricity, what does that matter at all? Like, they didn't utilize that outside mechanic at all. It was just...
Yeah, I have no idea what the mechanics were in Pegasus fight.
Like, it was really weird. Like, I had to make sure to face the pony, like, not... Or, like, when he would turn, to turn him away from the wall, because it'll break the wall and turn into, like, a lightning, like, dot on the ground. But, like, there was no reason to ever walk into the wall. Nothing knocked you back into the wall. Like, if it knocked you back into the wall, that would make sense. So it's like, who cares if you pay attention to mechanics in that fight? Like,
I just, when I say I want more varied arena design, I don't mean stuff from 6 patches ago. You know what I mean? Like, that's just
something original.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what the answer to that is, but I'm just saying, like, we've been down that road.
They made it good this time.
That's fair. That's fair. They did make it good this time, but now we've made a good fight on small circle platforms. Now what are you gonna do?
Small square platforms.
Oh, triangles now.
Okay, everyone's yelling at me that apparently it does knock you back, but like, I only remember him charging down the middle and like flying back down the middle.
But does it matter? Does it matter if you get knocked into that electricity? Because I think
it didn't with our group. I don't know.
I have no idea like what any of those mechanics in that fight were. I got hit a couple times. I took damage.
Like, he just kind of like fell over dead in my group.
There's laser beam blast and pony charge. Those are the two moves.
I don't.
Laser. Okay, so let's talk about Hullbreaker Hard, because this, I think, is probably, from a design standpoint and dev execution standpoint, the most disappointing part of 3.3.
Garbage.
It is,
however,
it is literally the same dungeon, the same progression.
Predictable.
It really is. They change nothing. That's not
true. That's not true. You guys suck. Okay.
Shameful.
No. I was playing it in the same room with Surin and our scholar from our static. All three of us were sitting in the same room and comparing the original dungeon to this one. And it was actually not as easy to tell because there was a lot of the trees and the things were changed. There was actually a couple different paths that were different.
They
and you actually had
removed
to
the
like jump.
trees.
You actually had to jump down into like the next area. We're like, oh,
Hang on
here instead of going this way.
When you compare that up against like Copperbell versus Copperbell Hard or Hawk Manor versus Hawk Manor Hard,
even Pharaoh Sirius.
Okay, Hawk Manor and Hawk Manor Hard are the exact same dungeon. You turn left instead of right. Don't even tell me that that's a different dungeon.
You go up this. You start by going up the stairs as opposed to starting on the first floor.
Well,
yeah, it's the same structure.
The same dungeon though.
It's.
Well, how about like
Copperbell
Karn?
Hard
Karn
feels a lot
Hard was
different.
very different, right?
Karn. Yeah, Karn actually was a lot different. Karn. Well, they had built Karn with the idea that you could take multiple paths, and then didn't end up executing that. They put the original Karn in, and they put that second path in a little bit later. But Copperbell, I think, is a great example of a dungeon that changed a lot. Like the path in that changed significantly, and the changes were pretty cool.
In Copperbell?
Yeah.
The path was basically the same, wasn't it?
No.
It was the same at first, and then you go a different way.
Yeah.
Up to the first boss, it's the same.
That
right?
whole bridge boss, you can't access that. That's
right.
The arena that you start in just before the boss line is the boss room from the first Copperbell, and then that whole section is a little bit different.
Right, but once you get past that boss, it's like you're right back on the same path. And then you drop down, and then there's that one room with the things, but you can't go to the sides because those are collapsed and stuff with the giants.
The last boss isn't the same room though.
Mm-hmm. Last boss in the same room. The second,
It's not.
The second boss in the same room. We're talking about Copperbell.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Well, okay, and
what's your point?
It's hard to remember. I have a hard time remembering the normal versions of so many of these dungeons. I haven't done them in forever.
Yeah.
I just recently leveled through them again. So
Toto Rock too, or not Toto Rock? What's the other one? That
Tamtara.
Tamtara. Thank you. Yeah, Tamtara.
Tamtara was different, but that's because it had that story. Like Tamtara, we all know is a great dungeon, regardless.
Guys, this is how interesting Hullbreaker Hard is.
No, I'm trying to get back to it, but you guys aren't letting me. The one thing that I will say that the three of us sitting in this room really did like, as much as I'm really sad we didn't fight my one person I wanted to fight, is that we actually fought people, and I feel like that was another reason. What was the other dungeon where we actually fought people?
That was Holly Tolly Hard, yeah.
Yeah, where it's kind of cool that like there's actual people that we're fighting against, even though it's like training and stuff. And same thing with the other training, Holly Tolly. That and I don't know, I just felt like more real, I guess, to be fighting people. Even Surin was like, I really like this just because we were fighting people. But the thing that bothers me is that even like the first boss, you see like the general, what's her face? But she only sends her minions at you. You don't even fight her either. So I'm kind of like,
yeah, they're not gonna let you fight anyone important.
like you don't actually get to fight any of the captains. You just fight their lackeys all the way.
Right.
Until the end.
Is that surprising to anyone?
Nope.
But I mean, if it's supposed to be a training, like, okay, I understand not fighting Merlewib, but I feel like if it's going to be a training, we should take on the captains and the commanders, right?
Can't upset the command structure.
The first boss was a trash fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's exactly my problem with Hullbreaker Hard, is that you're fighting humans, basically the whole time.
No, we like that though.
No, because guess what? Humans are fucking tiny and their hitbox is small, so it's extremely hard to get positionals down on a little person. It's terrible. Why would I want to fight fucking humans? I'm the fucking warrior of light.
We like that you had to fight humans.
Hang on. Someone yelled at me for making Dark Souls comparisons already in the chat, but I'm gonna make one here.
Oh my god!
No. Seriously, Dark Souls 2, you're mostly fighting dudes in armor with swords. Like you're fighting a lot of people, and in Dark Souls 1, you're fighting like a lot of like eldritch horrors and like
big demonic beasties.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that I've noticed a difference that I far more enjoyed Dark Souls 1 because of that. Like
the Dark Souls is a game where it feels like you should be fighting giant creatures. I feel like in an MMO, it's nice to have some variety because it's not like the entire game is this way. It's like it's nice to have a few
did we not get enough of killing heretics in the Shiva storyline? Like it's
Castrums.
Or Garleans.
Yeah, it's not that interesting. Yeah, killing Garleans is like the most boring fucking thing ever.
Because they all suck, to be fair.
That's true.
There's like a sweet Garlean, maybe we could kill him.
But it's also the fact that when it's people that are actually in the story, like these generals actually exist in the outside world, so they're not just like random trash people, they're actual people. Which is why I was a little bummed that first fight, like the entire time we're like, okay, where she's sending her lackeys. Any minute now, she's going to come out and fight us herself.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
It's a
Although
wet
I will
fart.
say that when you beat the last boss and you go up to Merlewip, she has a little bubble that says, "Not bad. Maybe someday soon you'll get to raise your sword against."
How did I know that you would latch right onto that?
She said, "Someday soon you will get to raise your sword against me."
Right.
She said, "Soon we will get to fight her."
Maybe it's a red herring for when all 3 leaders betray us and we have to kill them all.
That would be so good.
No.
I would love to kill
I'd
them.
lose my mind. I'd be so happy.
That would be
That
great.
would
Put their head
never
on a
happen.
mantle.
Look, here's the thing: is I really feel like the only cool part of that, and really the only cool part, is the second phase of the last boss fight, because it's just a small nod back to 1.0, but that's it. And there's nothing interesting that happens because of it. It's just, hey, he's here now, and you have to fight him.
The only part I like about Hullbreaker is the second boss, the snail, Ymir.
Oh, yeah, from FF6.
First, because he's from FF6.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
He didn't even have the same mechanic, though.
They didn't even,
we were waiting for him to go inside of his shell. We're like, okay, guys,
I'm like,
we know, don't attack him when he goes in his shell. And we're
You're
like
not gonna
waiting
fool
for it,
me.
and it
Everybody
never
said in our
happened.
party too.
Yeah.
And they didn't include FF6 music with it. Like they should have.
That was such a bummer. Like,
but it's just a nondescript boss, so it's.
They did it with fucking.
Done it before.
They did it with
Calcabrenna,
but they also did it with Ultros.
Those are different,
But
though.
Ultros was meant to be a callback, but
No, I know-
Calcabrina would be a better example. Like it was
But
the
that's
one
the
that
last
like
boss.
yeah, I
they
feel like
did
if it had been the last boss of the dungeon, maybe they'd have done it.
yeah.
Gilgamesh, they've done the same music.
That's a trial. It's different.
But what I'm saying is they've done
It's
present.
different, guys.
It doesn't count.
It's different.
Shut up, intern. You don't know what I'm talking
At
about.
the same time, how hard is it to just like swap out which bit of music plays right there?
Exactly. Yeah, that's.
It would have been a nice touch.
Right.
But then again, if they had done that and then not had the mechanic, that would have really been shitty too.
Also, the fact that FF6 music already exists in the game, so all they had to do was just use it. But
that's fair.
That's my point, is that they wouldn't have had to do anything except go, like copy paste. Like it's one command line anyway. Hullbreaker I think was a bit of a disappointment. Nika, you weren't at all disappointed that you didn't get to fight Merylweb?
I thought you absolutely was.
Okay.
I absolutely was.
Right.
And I was also like I was saying, like I thought that each boss was going to be like a captain and her or his team, like that. Like after that first one, I was like, oh cool, we're gonna get to fight this chick. Then I'm like, if we're gonna fight them, we're definitely gonna fight Merylweb. And then like we didn't fight any of them.
Going back, actually, like the fact that you see treasure chests on the ground in the screenshot for the preview of that dungeon, that should have been a dead giveaway who that boss was going to end up being. Like that should have been a dead giveaway. The fact that I didn't guess that really bothers me. Anyway, all right. So two new dungeons, not terribly awesome, but we've also got the addition of the Aquapowith. Now, this is really surprising to me because I didn't expect much out of the Aquapolis. But
Aquapowith?
I've been doing like nothing but farming maps the last few days.
I love it.
I am shocked how fun it is.
I love the Aquapolis.
It's so tense. Oh my god.
It's actually such a fun event, and it's like, yeah, that RNG element of, and also the sound effect that they use, like when you're opening the door, like it's like a third grade classroom when someone did something wrong. They're like, oh, I would love to replace my in-game sound effect of the like I would love to replace that with like, oh, you fucked up, like that. I would love that. That would be amazing. But it does add to like that whole tense atmosphere, and it really is a surprising amount of fun.
I saw a guy post. It might have been like Happy or someone like that, but they posted a Twitter pic where they were going to floor 7 of it, and like, oh snap, my map, my drops.
Ooh.
I'm like, oh, and he made it to floor 7. Like, that's awesome. And I was like thinking, like, I haven't gotten past like the 3rd one yet.
I haven't either. Yet.
The farthest I've been is the 5th room.
Oh,
I think 4th room is the farthest.
Apparently
one. Overall, it's so much fun.
It is.
I think it was someone in CP actually, because they were running with us yesterday, and had made it all the way to the 7th room by just picking the right door every single time.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a few people in the free company that's done that too.
You know what? It doesn't seem likely, but it's 1 in 64. It's gonna happen.
But okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. Maybe people in the chat know the answer to this. There is a theory floating around. It's either the fact that the door just flat out trolls you, and when it like errors you out, and then you get through, you actually did pick the right door. Or there's also a theory that when you pick the wrong door and it closes and it starts going rah, rah, and then it gives you like the rainbow god thing.
Yeah,
that it's actually
Rainbow Jesus.
That
yeah.
it's actually re-rolling you. Like you have a slight chance that you picked the wrong door, but there's like a 1% chance that it could re-roll you and you get through.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But that's just a theory. I have no idea if that's true or if it's just flat out trolling.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Because actually there's 3 steps. There's like, it can just flat out open for you when you click it.
Right.
It can fall down and then open, or it can fall down again and error at you and then Rainbow Jesus.
Right.
So there's like 2 or 3 different steps. So it's either re-rolling you with like, there's a slight chance each time it closes that you can actually go through it, or that it's just flat out trolling you.
What's the best stuff that you guys have gotten out of it so far?
Kyle got the bunny rabbit like his first time in.
I saw that.
I got a birch log, I think. I've done it 3 times, and every single time I got kicked out. So I'm 0 for 3 on doors.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were you picking doors?
The second time I did.
It has to be the person whose map it is has to pick.
Well,
I mean, I pick the door and then he opens it.
Yeah,
Nika.
well, that's...
Come on.
There's this little thing called peer pressure, Nika. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
We have a lot of it.
When you have 7 people on one side of the room and the party leaders on the other side, okay, that's a pretty clear signal. We know, like...
that's not
it's a clear signal for a Nero to pick the one with one guy.
That's like you get the "you fucked up" chant after that. You know, that one's solely on you.
Yeah, but if you're the one who's right, you get to rub it in everyone's face.
That's true. That is true.
It's interesting because it.
Aquapop Alabalapo Palace hype.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fee Fi Bonana.
Any group I've ever done is a your map, your drops, where it's like anything in the chest goes to the person with the map, but anything that just falls to you just falls to whoever.
Well,
I think the way...
And then the person picking with the map picks the doors. Like, that's just how it is.
I think the way that we did it was everyone greets the person whose map it is needs if they want. So...
Well, yeah. I mean, everything in the chest goes to the map person if they want it.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I think that this is a really, really, really good canary in the coal mine for Palace of the Dead. Yeah. I think that this is a really, really good indication that we're going to have some fun systems to play around with moving forward. So far, what they've said about Diadem, I'm very encouraged. Everything that we've seen with Aquapolis and, all the previews that we've gotten for Deep Dungeon, very promising. And I can't wait. A Deep Dungeon, I think, is going to be a really fascinating addition to this game.
This has my hype meter off the charts for Palace of the Dead, and if Palace of the Dead sucks, I'm just going to be heartbroken.
God, yeah, like that's me. Like
I can't be hurt again.
Yeah, I want Palace of the Dead Deep Dungeon to be good, but I've been hurt before. I can't trust as well as I can before Square-Enix.
But I feel like with the way that they did it with Aquapolis, I feel like they can use those same mechanics, and then once they, add in the like random debuffs and shit that we're gonna get, and like I feel like if that's any indication, like I think we're not gonna be disappointed.
I feel like Aquapolis was a bit of like testing the waters, so to speak, and it bodes very well overall.
And we kind of said the same thing about Diadem. We kind of thought maybe Diadem is more of a proof of concept for a different kind of system in.
Except we
14.
didn't have like, this is what is coming next. You know what I mean? Like Aquapolis is
Aquapolis.
It seems like there are some very core concepts that Square Enix are testing out to see if they work in Final Fantasy XIV in an overall game balance aspect.
Right. This is their beta test for Palace.
That's what. Yeah.
Right.
I think that there are some very important underpinnings that they're testing out with Aquapolis, and that's what they're monitoring for Deep Dungeon, because like we have to see whether or not, and this is actually going to take a couple of weeks to figure out. How is it going to be abused? Someone's going to try to figure out how to abuse the system. How can they possibly abuse it, and to what ends, and to what kind of damage will it do? So, if you're introducing RNG elements that are not just dynamic elements to a fight or making players react in a fight, but you're actually testing RNG elements in terms of loot distribution and raid progression, not raid progression, but dungeon progression. I think that those are important bare bones concepts that you have to test out first, and Aquapolis does all of those.
And that's so exciting if that's truly what this is. That's because what we've been hoping against hope, that the next expansion of this game will have different elements kind of like that. And if that's what they're trying to do, this is like, okay, let's test if we can have RNG elements in our dungeons, then great. Like if that's any kind of indication of what 4.0 will be like, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to 3.35 for sure.
We also got a caller who wants to call in about Aquapolis and Deep Dungeon. Kerrigan Shark.
Kerrigan, welcome to Limit Break Radio. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. I was actually really tempted to call in last week, basically to predict that the Aquapolis would be DOA, mostly because of everything we had heard about it. And then seen in the, I think it was the live letter where Yoshi P was going through it, and just with the RNG, it was like, okay, so most people are only going to get maybe to the 3rd floor. All the drops are going to suck. How long before everybody's just like, okay, this isn't really worth our time anymore?
Right.
But surprisingly, I ended up having a lot of fun doing it. I'm curious as to what the actual percentages are with the RNG. I mean, you guys all said that, like, oh, you've only gotten to the 3rd or 4th floor. I got to the 7th. I'm the first time in there.
Wow. I mean,
lucky you.
and that's gonna, I mean, and that's gonna make an impression. I think right out of the gate, that's gonna make a strong impression of the entire system. So,
yeah. Well, like I've actually already done it over like 20-something times. I spent way too much time doing it. I think it was on Wednesday. So I'm kind of burnt out on it. I've been storing up maps. But yeah, doing it got me really, really hyped for Deep Dungeon, like all of you have already said. But because it's that kind of realization, I think, that it's like, holy shit, is this the first like new piece of content in the game since 3.0 that's actually been good? Like, are we now on an upswing where, like new ideas coming from the devs is actually going to be good?
And we're going to get to this here in just a second, but there was some interviews compiled by Slicer of Blue Garter, who posted it up this week, from Dengeki 4Gamer and Game Watch, that talk about 3.35 and beyond. And one of the things that they say in there that I think is really important is that they're taking cues not only from second generation MMOs, but they're going back and re-examining first generation concepts. And I think that is very important, because you've got a community of players who are, and it's not all of us. Granted, it's not all of us, but there is a significant thread in this community that do come from first generation MMOs, your Final Fantasy XIs, your EverQuest, stuff like that do long for that kind of gameplay. And if you don't in any way explore trying to make some content for that portion of your community, then I think that is to the detriment of a significant segment of the player base. So the fact that they're trying stuff like this, I think that, and hybridizing both first and generation MMO concepts, I think that they're going to end up stumbling on something that is going to be really inventive, whether it's Deep Dungeon, whether it's what they're going to be doing with Diadem, or whether it's something in 4.0. This is, I think, the right approach to be taking to say, okay, this is the demographic that we have in our game. How do we make stuff that is both new to them, but also feels like what they recognize? And that's a very important thing. So, and I think that's clear with Deep Dungeon, and I think that's clear with Aquapolis that they're looking at that, and I think that you can even consider Diadem as a bit of an exploration of that concept as well, because we even said at the time that there are some holdover concepts in there from Abyssia, from Dynamis. Yeah, absolutely. So with those holdovers, you've got you've got plenty to work with. Even though Diadem fell flat, the fact that they're trying things and then going back and having the willingness to readjust them if they don't work, I think that is incredibly encouraging for the future of this game.
And to the caller's point too, he's so right about saying this could easily had been DOA. It could have easily just been garbage out the chute.
It didn't make much of an impression when he showed it off at the live letter.
Yep.
It didn't leave me with an impression of like, I can't wait for the Aquapolis. I was like, that might be okay, but it mostly looks garbo. And and the fact that we're all surprised by how good it is and how fun it is, I think that speaks to the level of like they actually put some time and some thought and some effort into this system.
Yeah,
and that's
some loot.
And some loot too, yeah, and some really
I love
good
all
stuff.
the random materia that just drops. They're making so much bank.
One thing about Aquapolis is, as I play it, it's the first event in this game where I say anything like, "This feels like a modern day Final Fantasy XI event." It feels like an FF11 event.
It kind of does. It feels a little bit influenced by Moblin Maze Mongers, and I mean the fact that you have to do treasure chests, that they attached it to an already existing system.
Yep.
Very smart. Very, very smart. Anyway, thanks for your call. We appreciate it. If you want to be a caller here to Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. We want to hear from you. How excited are you for 3.35? Are you still very much hype on the content that we got in 3.3? What's your favorite stuff? What's your least favorite stuff? Let us know. Again, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Let's talk PvP. We got Fields of Glory added, and now, Woody, I want to talk to you about this because your prediction was dead on. Mm-hmm. It is Camp Glory. It's not just Camp Glory. You've got Owl's Nest in there as well.
Yeah.
I
remember going there at one point.
I actually spent a significant amount of time in Owl's Nest. And the cool thing is that my party started on the Owl's Nest side, so I immediately recognized where I was. Oh, yeah. And it's interesting because back in the 1.0 days, people used to try to pull context clues from things that were in the game about what jobs might be added, what was coming in the future. And one of those buildings used to have a sign that had antlers on it, and a lot of people thought, hey, that
House
might be
of Baratheon.
That might be Beastmaster or something like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
And that building is still there. That plaque is gone, but that building is still there. The windmill that was there there's just tons of rubble surrounding it. It is very, very cool.
That was very iconic for that area.
Exactly. For a 1.0 player, that was a really big deal to me. I like the fact that now we have East Quarthus back on the map. Yes, it is a strict PvP zone, but that zone, man, that portion of the zone really got fucked up by the Calamity, and I'm just excited that we get a little bit more Quarthus. Not much story that takes place there. Right. It's mostly just, hey, look, this used to be a place.
Hey, go kill people.
Pretty much.
How many times do you run it?
Go kill
just
ice.
once. Just once. And I like the event just doing it once, where it's more about data collection. It's actually tallying the amount of points that you're getting on each node. So it's you're collecting points, and it has a nice readout at the end when you destroy a node, or when you've defended a node, or whatever it is. So I like the game mode mode. Again, it's 72-player PvP, so
more than the other front lines. You like it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna
disagree.
Really?
Because the one game that I played, I felt like I was just running around hitting on ice blocks the whole time, and then trying to maybe harass the other players. But if there's more than two, then you just run away. Is what I did.
Yeah.
As a melee ninja.
Wow. I mean, the meta doesn't change. It doesn't always, it doesn't change that drastically between PvPs. I'm a tank. I kill white mages. Just go bother the white mages.
Right.
That's pretty self-explanatory. But I do like the fact that it's not just about capturing a node. Each node has got HP that you've got to reduce, sort of like the original front lines with the nodes that would spawn in the middle. But these nodes spawn all over the fucking map, and they're worth different amounts of points. Right. So, there's a different priority for which nodes you go after, and of course that's dictated by, is it an enemy or friendly territory, who's holding it. There is some bullshit, though, that I did see, that there was a Dark Knight who would stay in our area, like the area that you had to protect, and he would just keep disconnecting. So he would disconnect, everyone would move away from there, he would reconnect and recapture the node. I'm just saying, look, Mortal Flame still lost, but that is a really shitty technique. Yeah, that is a really shitty technique.
I feel like it's really clever, actually, and they need to find a way.
Of course, Nico would condone disconnecting during a fight.
They just have to find a way to. The Square-Enix needs to find a way to counter. Okay, that wasn't my idea, so shut up. But.
No, you did
it. This guy thought of it. You can't blame him for
coming from a game theory standpoint. I respect it, but what an asshole!
To find a way to counter something like that. I feel like
that's bullshit.
It's definitely abuse of the game.
And it should be simple. When you log in, you log back in at your spawn point.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be a hard change to make.
Well, let's not say what's hard and what's not hard to implement, but let's just say it's a logical change to make.
Yeah, that's fair. Other than the zone design, I don't really have much for the PvP. Other than just the small amount of changes.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. After the feast, I feel like Frontlines just isn't really doing it for me.
Really?
If I want a PvP,
I prefer 4-on-4 or 8-on-8.
4-on-4 mostly, but yeah, I feel like that has a lot more skill and a lot more engaging gameplay for me. Opposed
to more like PvP.
It feels like more like PvP, and it's more interesting than just beating on rocks.
And that's kind of been the evolution of it, because the larger scale PvPs kind of felt like their solution to having an 8-on-8 system or a 4-on-4 system that didn't really work. The game wasn't designed around it at the time, so they put these large scale things in that kind of make it work. But then they redesigned PvP for Wolves Den and Feast, and now it works.
Yeah.
So now you're kind of like, well, why would I do the bigger stuff? It's just the evolution of PvP.
As long as the queue times are short, it's good for tome grinding. That's period.
That's the thing. If I want a PvP, I feel like I'm always going to choose the Feast over this. But if I don't feel like PvPing and I just want to grind tomes, like you said, or grind XP on my PvP rank, then I could do this instead. But if I don't feel like I want to contribute very much, so
fair enough. Okay, so I know I didn't write it down here on the outline, but let's talk about the Anima weapons.
No, we can't do it.
Well,
no,
not on the outline.
It's on the outline.
Let's talk about Anima.
We should talk about it.
Because what do you guys think of the grind for this step of the Animas?
I want to go first because it's just weird to me this time. There's just so many ways to get your sand that I kind of feel overwhelmed because there's so many options. I'm not sure what the quote best way to do it is.
You just do everything.
And that's the thing. You just do everything. So
it doesn't lock you into a patch.
So now I feel like I don't really, since there's no one clear path, that I'm just what do I do? I just guess I don't do anything.
The clearest path is the fact that you need stuff from Esoterics 100% every time, and you also can get stuff from Poetics. So doing all of your roulettes is worth it every time. So that's the clearest path.
That is true, yeah. But it also makes use of things like elegant catalysts that...
Even crafting scripts.
Crafting scripts.
Shitty elemental materials.
Elemental materia, yeah.
Shit that was like... 200 gil before the patch.
Well, that's
suddenly 500k.
I feel like they looked at a lot of harder to get specific drops. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that guarantees that you're going to get a Fire 4 materia out of converting a piece. You know what I mean? So they took some stuff that doesn't sell well, but is not the easiest to get. Elegant Catalyst got to come. You've got to do Crystal Tower for those. Like that. All of that is. It's sold for almost nothing, and I feel like they just read the market boards and was like, oh, what sells like shit? Let's give it value.
Pretty much.
Artificial value. I mean, that I think is the thing that kind of bugs me, is that it just artificially inflates the value, and then they become purposeless again once everyone moves off of the step.
So make your money now.
That's true. I mean, it really is just for people who capitalize on markets like that.
Do you, Nika, do you feel like the grind is long enough? Because I have like really no concept of how long this grind is.
It's hard to tell.
So
I feel
disconnected.
Yeah, okay. So I'm trying to think. Like the original 80 items grind the last time around, like I feel like that took me a long time, but I did it very casually. Like I didn't purposefully go out of my way at all. Maybe I did 10 rounds of Alexander for one item. Otherwise, I didn't go out of my way at all, and I managed to get it done before the next update to the relic. This one, it felt really long at first because I'm like, oh man, you like have to get so many of these things for each upgrade. But then again, every time you turn one in, you actually get 3 point boosts. It's not just 1 point boost.
You have the possibility of getting 5.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
RNG.
In RNG, you have...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a possibility to get 5.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so, I mean...
I feel like it's fairly long, but then again, like if you have a shit ton of money, you can just, and then you're a crafter or whatever, so you can just buy all the materia up, or you can just keep crafting things for scripts over and over. And then, I mean, the thing is though, is that ESO will always be the limiting factor. Because you have to buy that one item through ESO. You can't get it any other way, and so that will be the limiting factor here.
I sort of feel like if they add another relic progression step in 3.35, that maybe this is okay. But I don't think they will, because if they did that, that would boost the relic eye level too high.
What does this relic get upgraded to?
That's a good question. Nika, what do we... What?
I can look at my quest.
Yeah, check your quest log.
It says that the sword is 240.
240.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's we're not getting an upgrade.
It's not going to happen.
Well, you don't necessarily know that, because isn't the Alexander 8 weapon 245? Why couldn't they match the relic to 245?
Because they said that they want the raid weapons to outclass every other weapon by 5 high levels.
But I feel like the relic weapon should be outclass everything by 5 high levels.
I don't just feel. Well, I don't.
So I feel like putting it on par with the raid weapons at the 0.5 patch, maybe not at the point like the first original patch, but the 0.5 patch.
I don't disagree with you at all, but I mean that's what Square-Enix said, that they want it to always outclass by 5 high levels. I mean they even went back and retroactively did that to the weapons that came out of
the I-90 was.
Yeah. So, like I would say that there's probably a good chance that this is it until 3.4. If that's the case, I feel like I'm going to blow through this without even blinking.
I'm not even going to bother like really touching it. Just like get it casually and not even care.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many things and so many paths I can take that I'm just like, just give me one path that I can grind like bear asses and just kill the bears, collect their asses, and then turn them in for points. And
just
then that's
do
the only way.
If you're doing your roulettes, that's all you need to do.
That's so many roulettes, though. I don't have time
No, it
for
is,
that.
but that's why. But that's the thing, is that if all you're doing is roulettes, it is going to be a long grind.
Yeah.
But if you supplement it with the other stuff, you can do it faster. I think that it's smart what they did.
Yeah, and a lot of the shit you can buy off the auction house, because they did. I mean, the fact that it has value now is proof enough of that. Like whether it's the materia, whether it's the elegant catalysts, you got to combine those with Mhcah farthings, and that takes some upgrade items out of the mix for you. Because now you actually have to turn in not just the coin that drops out of the Weeping City of Mhcah, but also the Mhcah farthing to get the upgrade items from 230 to 240 for your gears.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, though, is that now that they've unlocked Void Arc, I mean, you can get as many farthings as you want, as many Void Arcs as you're willing to do.
Right.
So I figure if you do 3 Void Arcs a week, you use 1 of them on your armor upgrade and then 2 on the relic thing.
Or you just stack 10 of the bitches before the patch because you didn't need them and forget that they were in your inventory, and now you're all set. I'm all set. I don't need to do Void Arc for a while.
Hey, I had
you have 10 farthings sitting in your inventory.
I think I had 2 farthings. Yeah, I had 2 farthings. I used 1 on an upgrade and I still have 1.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I do think that this step is a little bit weak.
I feel like they're catering to casuals
do.
too much.
Okay, but compare it to the last stat upgrade relic from the original relic, where you actually had to buy materia and they could blow up and you could spend 8 million gil on one piece.
Okay,
one stat upgrade. That was shit and horrible and stupid, and this is a 10,000 bajillion point better upgrade than that.
That was your choice. I was completely happy with a 3-statter that cost me maybe 3-4 mil.
Yeah, no.
You're terrible.
Yeah. But here I am saying
I did that at first, and I went back and fixed it. I fixed my badness. I fixed my mistake. So yeah, no, I do feel like the Anima is a little bit light. Overall, I mean, all of the steps have been
light,
comparative.
But I mean, what did you want? What would you have wanted out of a stat
God,
upgrade patch? I mean, did you want just a bit like the grind to be longer, so maybe like less options? Or
I'm gonna say it again. I want the grind to be available right from 3.0 or 4.0.
We know that that's not
but
going
we can't do that now.
So this step, how would you have wanted it to have gone out? Would you rather have like the same? Because I actually really like the system. It's way better than buying material.
No, the system's fine. The system is fine.
You just want the grind to be longer.
I think that it double the turn-in items. So instead of 5, 5. What is it? Lore items? Not lore items.
The only time Skuro is a positive force in anything is in his HIV test.
Damn.
Holy shit.
That came out of left field. Where did that come from?
That was unbelievably cold, War Swine. That was great.
Are they
that was
arguing
awesome.
or something?
That was awesome.
Jesus.
That was great.
Oh, shots fired.
That may have won the day.
Yeah, wow.
Damn.
What were we talking about?
I need to get back on track there. Yeah, no, I would have doubled the turn-in items. I would have, instead of 5 items to turn in from not lore, but the other tomes, the old tomes that nobody cares about. Because those are 50 tomes a pop. You can get the first 4 steps if you've got capped, not ESOs. What is it? Poetics. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that poetics were a thing. Stern comes to me today and he's like, yeah. And I was like, how did you get so much more than me? He's like, oh, I just took my poetics because they were capped and I just got like a bunch of those.
Yeah, the enchanted.
What?
Yeah, the enchanted ink and what's the other one?
Thavnarian Mist.
That's it. Thavnarian Mist. They're only about 40 or 50 tomes
one's 50,
a pop.
one's 40. Yeah.
That's it.
And so if you had capped poetics, you can get 4 full turn-ins of those.
Yes. Which is exactly what I did. And I'll tell you what, if it were 10 a pop, I think that would be fair instead of 5.
It's so hard to get poetics nowadays, though, I feel.
Yeah, you got to kind of go out of your way to get them. It was kind of a pain in the ass in the last relic step, but the grind should at least be long enough to get us through till 3.4.
Well, that's true.
Most of us, I think a lot of us are going to be done by 3.35. I don't think it's going to be long enough to even last to then. I mean,
when's 3.5 coming out?
You mean 3.35?
3.5. Yeah.
We don't know yet. I mean,
it's gonna be like
6 weeks.
Could probably guess late July-ish.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess late July.
I mean, it should be about a month and a half.
Yeah,
it's usually about 6 weeks.
Okay,
that's usually the timetable we're looking at.
I'll have this done by then.
Right? Like, I mean, like I'm like 5 or 6 steps into mine, and I'm not even.
Yeah, I've got
trying.
like 21 points in one already.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not even trying.
But then again, that's because we had already stacked up all of our shit because there was no other reason to use it, so it's literally just been capped forever. But I feel like now that we actually have to do roulettes to get it, it's going to feel a little bit harder.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It will be a little more grindy, yeah. Because right now you're just
Because like all of us were like, I've had capped ESO and capped poetics for weeks. So like I have not been doing roulettes because I have no reason to use tomes. Now I do. So it's going to feel a little different.
Yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see how it ends up progressing. I just feel like really like out of the gate that it
seems underwhelming.
Yeah, it's underwhelming.
It'll be interesting. Like if we revisit this in 2 weeks, it'll be interesting where everyone's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Evan in our chat says some JP players have already finished.
I believe it.
Yeah, of course. The JP.
And that's there's no gate on this. There's no gate whatsoever. Yeah. And so if you want to poop sock it, you can poop sock it.
Fill them socks.
So
with your poop.
If you'd like to give us a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715 or limitbreakradio.com/Discord if you've got the Discord app. Sound off on any of the 3.3 content. What did you think about the Weeping City of Mhcah? Was it too hard? Was it not hard enough? Let us know about the hardness of Mhcah. Also, did you enjoy the PvP design? What do you think of the new PvP mode? Nidhogg, EX, Aquapolis. You could sound off on any of that. Again, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715.
We have a caller who wants to talk about the Anima stuff.
All right.
We have Arthars on the line.
Hey, what's up, Arthars? How's it going?
Wow, that took me long enough to wait on the line, man. What's up, guys?
You've been on the line for
find a right
9 minutes.
How many relics have you finished?
Oh,
not.
Yo, how's everybody doing?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Working in radio, 9 minutes is not the longest call time I've seen, or the longest hold time I've seen. Anyway, Arthars, thank you for calling in, man. How you doing? Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. I'm assuming you're going to want to talk about the Anima stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Anima stuff. Like, I'm going to let you guys know, man, this step, by far, I can tell you that this step, not by far, this step is the hardest to grind step. I can tell you that.
Really?
It's the hardest to grind?
Yes.
What makes you say that?
You guys keep talking about the crystal sand. That crystal sand is non-relevant. The only thing about this quest right now is the 80 Umbrites. Why do I say 80? You guys keep talking about, Yoshida say that there's a chance to get 4 to 5, right? You guys were talking about, it's not that bad, sometimes you can turn into 5 treated crystal sand. Let me tell you what, 4 and 5, and just to let you guys know, there is also +6 if you are that lucky. Basically, save you 1 Umbrite. Is near non-existent. There are people who completed already, but have never seen any bonuses. I myself just, I just came back from Japan 1 or 2 days later after the patch, so I'm a little behind, but I'm already like more than half done. I have yet to see a +4, +5. So people out there, I'm going to let you know, if you want to finish your This Relic, you have to brace yourself that you have to grind 80 Umbrites.
Well, of course, you should always plan. You should always plan for the worst case scenario because not everyone has the favor of RNGesus. We know this,
and that's only 21,000 ESOs. That's not a lot.
4,000 ESOs. That's not a lot. That's not a lot.
It really isn't.
But when you compare, like a lot of people on Reddit has been saying, this step is so much more easier than the unidentified item steps. Guess what? It's not, because when you are doing Gordius, you get to do 4 different turns. You get law from the Gordius. You want to take a break, you can do maps. We were talking about how awesome that step is because you can do a lot of things to get it right. Guess what? This step you don't have the luxury of choosing. All you can do is to sit down and grind 24,000 ESOs. And guess what? If you want to talk about grinding, everybody is going to find a way, right? To say, what is the most efficient way? What is the best ESO per minute? Do you know what is the best ESOs per minute right now? Grinding Ato Chemical Research Facility. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly. That is proven plus a stamp on it.
Because the ESO boost that they gave it in this patch, which is great because that's always the one that I get for level 60 roulette.
Yeah, have fun with that.
That's not great though, because we are talking about how easy it is. A lot of people just keep thinking that it is only 24,300 a pop, but think of how many of the dungeon you need to do. Like, I was comparing this to Alexandra. I mean, this is literally the Alexandra step. But the Alexandra step, you at least have a liberty to say, do fates, although the drop rate is abysmal, but you have the liberty to do that. You can hope for your daily, what is that? Daily expert quest that it gives you one free map, right? There's options to getting it, but this time there is literally no option. You really got to sit down and grind. And I can tell you that if you want to grind it, like, okay, some JP are crazy enough to finish already, but it is expected though. But because those people that grinded this fast will finish the day before. Like they finished on Saturday already, but this time they took them Saturday. So basically you can take that as a consensus and think that this is a little bit harder grind, even for those people who loves to grind. It takes them a little bit more time, and that that multiply exponentially across among different people. Like I myself would think that I would take additional 2 to 3 days. Then I would take.
But like here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, is that. When you're trying to cram it into a small area of time, when you're trying to grind through to the other side of that, of course the grind is going to be way bad. But, like, this is stuff that people do on a daily basis.
Like, there's so many ways to get ESOs.
Right, there's one best way to get ESOs.
Right.
Many ways to get ESOs is one thing. The most efficient way to get ESOs is another.
But Arthars, you're talking about a fraction of the community that wants to get it done that fast. I think most people who play this game, if they did it that fast, they would be sitting around for 4 months with nothing to do, waiting for the next patch. So, like, at least the way that I've approached doing content in this game is that I don't need to have this done in 2 or 3 days, because there's no real purpose for having it done in 2 or 3 days. So
no, that's not what we're talking about here, though. What we're talking about right now is how people think, regardless of how they think that this step.
What I was talking about was is this step enough to serve us through until the next time we get a relic step? And we don't even know if it's going to be at 3.4 or if it would be indeed at 3.45, which they've pushed the relic steps off onto the 0.5 patches in the past as well. So is it long enough? Is it big enough to get through most people at an average rate grinding between 3.3 and even 3.4? I don't think so. And that
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, and that I think is the crux of the problem. Not how quickly or quickly or slowly people can get through it if they're trying to grind or they're trying to be the most efficient about it, but how quickly or slowly are most people going to make it through this at an average pace, not particularly grinding.
Here is what I think, though. It might be true. It might happen. It might not. But let me just get my thought across. This step should at least, like you say, for people like me who or even more hardcore people, obviously it's not going to last us to say 4.0. Let's just say if the next relic quest comes in 4.0, obviously it's going to last till that. But for people like us, at the same time, we are not going to stop at just one relic. You get what I mean? But for people like you say who wants to take their own sweet time, I can guarantee you that it should last you to 2.35. Now here is the problem, though. In 3.35 or whether in 3.38, will there be another quest coming in to bring the relic to 245? We do not know that.
I don't think no.
Take into consideration that Midas normal mode is still out there and not used yet. I mean, I'm not going to say that, due to the pattern in Gordius, they should use the Midas normal mode to come here. But just saying that, the possibility out there that it might happen, because this is also the exact same time frame when we get the second raid, get a second raid here this time with Alexander. At the same time when we get the second coil of Bahamut, that was also, I think, around that time, I forgot, or is it final coil? I forgot, where they introduced the same amount of eye level to the raid weapon when they introduced it 5 levels. It was 5 item level higher.
I believe
it was final coil, right?
Final coil was, I believe, 2.4, and then they brought relics in line to be the same eye level as raid in 2.5. Yeah. So there was an entire patch cycle that raid weapons outclassed.
Not 2.5. No, not 2.5. It was 2.38 or 2.48. I forgot. But it was a 0.8 version. I remember very specifically. It was a 0.8 version 1 month before the patch. Before the major patch.
Then I mean that's not that much different. It was a specific patch made for that, and it's sort of a gimme a month before the final patch. I mean, it might as well have been in 3.5 or 2.5.
I forgot. I think I forgot. It was a 0.8. I just know that it was 1 month before. So, I mean, you guys were talking about whether it will last to, say, 3.4. Maybe there is one more in 3.38, 3.35. I don't know. So it should last you until then. Just saying. It should last you until
But am I crazy, though? I could have sworn that Square Enix said that they want raid weapons to outclass all other weapons by 5 eye levels.
They said the same thing in the first Coil of Bahamut.
They went back and retroactively adjusted the eye level to make that difference. I can't see them bringing up the Anima to be equal with the eye level.
No, it's the same. They bring item level. They bring Alagan from 90 to 95 because of the relic thing. But 1 or 2 patch later, major raid patch later, they bring the relic weapon back to as strong as the what is that? The final coil, I think. Is it the final coil? Wait, the final coil and the second coil. At the second coil, they reverse that. They keep saying that, yeah, we understand that the relic has been, too powerful, too easy to get. So they make 5 item levels higher than relics. But eventually, I right now, I think I got it right already. 115 was the Nexus when they bring it as strong, as powerful as the second coil of Bahamut. And then in 3.4, your 115 weapon was immediately usable because it was as good as your second coil Bahamut. And then in the final coil Bahamut, they bring the Zodiac to be as strong as the final coil Bahamut weapon. So this time there's a chance that it might happen as well. So this grind might last you to, if it happens, of course, like I said, I'm talking about hypothetically.
Right.
If it happens, there is still a grind,
No, I mean I agree. But it's so highly contingent on Square Enix putting in another step at either 3.35 or 3.38. And I mean that's just not something that I'd be willing to bet the farm on at this point.
I would guess 3.4.
That's what I would guess too. And
although I would bet Ascalia on that.
Well, fair enough. I mean, if you look at the eye level structure of the way that they've rolled out weapons in the past, and you look at the fact that raid weapons have always, at least in the 3.0 cycle, have been 5 item levels higher than the relics definitively, then I think that's going to be a pattern that they would. No,
not Gordius. Not Gordius.
Are you sure?
Yeah, Gordius was 210.
Okay. I mean, it's just it would be weird to have raid weapons and Anima weapons at exactly the same eye level when they've stated several times that that's not what they want to do. That they want raid weapons to
what they want to do.
No, they just didn't want it to be immediately when it comes out, but eventually they want to make. They say
that's what I'm saying. Like at 3.4, 3.5 at that area, I just see it 3.35 or 3.38 being too early to pull the trigger on that catch up.
Yeah, probably because I mean, if you think about the last relic was never the best until the final stage.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they got major stat boosts. It was the same eye level as everything else, yet the stats were still way higher.
3.4 should be the last phase of Alexander, right? We should see that then?
Yeah. 3.4 should be the...
So if we're planning on another eye level jump there, they might bring it up in 3.35. And then in the half patch, you're going to get your next level of your relic.
That's what I predict. I predict though, because I mean I'm just talking about the previous steps. The previous relic. They seems to like to do relics like 1 month before the raid patch. They make it as strong as the the raid weapons, so that even those people who doesn't do the raid is still able to, although they only have it for 1 month, it is definitely going to be best in slot if it gets to the same eye level as the Midas weapon, because it is fully customizable now. So they used to do that in second coil and final coil. Now we are just about going, just right about the same timing. Where they pull the trigger on giving the highest eye level same as the raid weapon. So I'm just saying that it might happen. So this grind for the people that you were mentioning, those that like to take their time, it should last till then. It should.
Yeah, like I say, I think this raid weapon's been top tier since 3.2, so I think 3.35 would probably be an okay point for them to bring the raid weapon up to the match it, and then with 3.4,
I don't,
or 3.8.
I don't hold out a whole lot of hope for that.
Me neither.
I myself hope it doesn't though. This step scared the shit out of me, man. When I thought about I can only do chemical facility.
Well, no, you can do other things.
24,000. Oh my god! Right now, I'm like, I'm so tilted right now, man. I'm still like,
chemical research facility is the best way. But you can do other things for the sake of your sanity.
Yeah.
So you can look yourself in the mirror and not want to scream.
Oh, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, just because the best way isn't very good doesn't mean all the other ways don't exist. Like, there's other ways are still good. They may not be the best way, but if the best way isn't that good, then do the other ways.
Yeah, I mean, like, I felt the same way about face rolling Garuda hard over and over and over and over again. And I was like, well, but there's other shit that I can do. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and that made it not as bad.
It may be faster to do a theochemical, but if you have a mental breakdown 4 days into that, that's going to really slow you down.
Yeah, it will. It will.
But
it takes forever to get out of those asylums once you go in.
Oh my god.
But it's still dungeons, though. What about, like, I mean, the I identify items that was so perfect. You know, we can do so much more variety, like literally everything else. So this time is really just titled dungeon. I mean, people can say, yeah, you can do the Vanu 45 a day. Oh my god.
Have you thought about doing some PvP?
Well,
I try to, but I don't want to be, you know, like being called a scrub because I'm not confident.
It's but the new one has 72 people, and no one's paying attention.
Yeah, no one realized you're there. It's cool.
Wait, everyone's just there for the ESOs. Nobody is. Anyone who's actually competing at that shit is in Wolves Den, so I wouldn't even worry about it.
Yeah, just go hang out in the 72 man and get some ESOs. It'll be real casual. You're gonna feel great about yourself.
Is that sarcasm?
Glory.
So, Arthars, thank you so much for calling in today, man. We appreciate your perspective on the Anima grind, my friend.
Yeah, sure, man. Anytime, man.
Check him out, twitch.tv/Arthars, now partnered channel. You should go check out and subscribe to him. Do it. Twitch.tv/Arthars.
What the fuck was that?
What?
I don't know. It was I don't know.
It's only weird if you make it weird. It's only all right, real quick. Juxta, you might be the only one that's done the Hildebrand story.
I
did it.
Anyone who's had 5 minutes has done it.
5 minutes can do it, yeah.
Fair enough.
I thought it was cute.
It was cute.
Anything.
If you've ever wanted to see Vivi pose like Hildebrand, now you can.
Like, it is what it is. Like, what you watch is good. Again, there's not enough of it. You don't really do anything except watch cutscenes, but the cutscenes are good and still entertaining.
Hey,
Yeah, the
guys.
cutscenes are very funny.
Does anyone remember when Hildebrand actually inquired about stuff? I sure don't.
They're inquiring about the memories of Gigi.
I don't. No, he's nice. They're walking around like being like his father. It's terrible.
They're inspecting Vivi.
How am I hearing this right? That Hildebrand has now fallen out of favor with Juxta?
He did a while ago. Juxta's has fallen off the Hilda train.
Okay, well, keep this in mind. The 2.0 stories where he was really the inspector. In this one, he was pretty much killed all over again. We discovered him in the snow, and he's here now, and he has found a new mission.
That's right.
He's using his super sleuth detective abilities to find Gigi's memories.
I miss when there were mysteries around and I was solving a case.
That's not a mystery. It's a mystery.
You're trying to figure out who Vivi is. Yeah,
okay, well, guess what? When back in 2.0, we actually solved mysteries in the span of a Hildebrand.
I agree. We're not. It's not nearly enough.
Now it's an overall arching story instead of like the little mystery in between the overarching story.
I would really like for them to take a patch off Hildebrand and just stock up one big storyline with him and do something big with him again.
Yeah, I agree.
And hey guys, remember back in 2.0 at the end of the Hildebrand things when you had that cool cutscene?
Oh yeah, we don't have those anymore.
I miss those.
No, yeah, those are done. Those are done. All right, so
thank you, asshole.
The people who designed Hildebrand.
If you'd like to give the show a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Probably take a few more calls before we wrap up here. But before we go, I want to talk about the interview compilation that was put together by Slicer on the Order of the Blue Garter forums. We talked about the Famitsu article last time, and there is definitely some good stuff that comes out of these interviews. And this one, the sources include interviews conducted by Dengeki, 4Gamer, and GameWatch, and they've all been sort of compiled into one easily read forum post by Slicer. So, some comments on the storyline. It does seem like we get a little bit of foreshadowing in 3.3, but not much. Good question here. Among users, it seems many expect that the story will move in the direction of Alamigo. Yoshida responded, well, Yida and Pop Limo, who we didn't see at all in this patch, have clearly been in contact with the Alamigan resistance, so that solidifies what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So it may seem like that, but there will be a variety of plots, so please enjoy them.
Because I'm thinking also the Warriors of Darkness, because they're obviously not Alamigan connected specifically.
Right.
So we're going to have to deal with them.
Right. Interesting that won't be resolved before the end of the 3.0 patch cycle.
It might.
This is actually an interesting word choice by Yoshida. He says there will be a variety of plots, so please enjoy them. Confirmation of more housing plots.
Oh, god damn you.
Okay, that is also...
You're retarded.
He probably didn't say that in English. So.
See, Anira, what you did there is you got your hopes up that Juxta was about to have a very insightful remark. I saw you get into it.
That.
You opened yourself up there.
I did.
Someone fluent in Japanese, please confirm that the word for a housing plot and a story plot are not the same word.
Please don't dissect the joke.
Yeah, you're ruining it.
Please don't.
But it's Juxta, no.
Okay, so another question. I thought you had planned to alternate the Scholasticate and Hildebrand quests, so I was surprised.
Oh, good question.
That you're adding Hildebrand in 2 patches in a row. The response from Yoshida, actually, we struggled a bit with the Scholasticate quests.
You don't think so?
A lot of characters appeared at once, so we were afraid to rush this, and we wanted to make sure that it was totally coherent. It wouldn't be impossible to do the work to get both Hildebrand and those done at the same time, so we're rethinking the timeline for implementation.
Okay, we just got to be really apologetic and tell them we didn't mean it.
Which seems...
They have storyline for it, then.
It seems like they don't have a plan, or the plan that they had wasn't good. Which, I mean, we could kind of guess.
No, it sounds like they had a plan, but they didn't want to try to work on both at the same time because it would have been messy.
Because everyone on the forums went, we want Hildebrand! And they were like, well, we don't have one planned. We want one anyway.
But the thing is that...
And now it's bad. And now look what happened. You guys complained and said you wanted something, and now it sucks.
But along with what Juxta was saying when we wanted Hildebrand to have a mystery, the Scholasticate quests open up perfectly for a mystery that Hildebrand could solve. So I don't know
agree.
Why
yes,
they
I
didn't
agree.
just put Hildebrand into those quests.
I totally agree.
The comedy start.
And that's sort of what I thought was being set up there.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't wait for the real Hildebrand quest to come out in 3.4.
Oh, God. We're
pretty butthurt about it.
You have another Beast Tribe quest this time to close out their storyline. Will you have another Beast Tribe quest this time to close out the storylines? Like the extra Beast Tribe quest from A Realm Reborn, once you had all the reputation maxed out. Yoshida responds, if we do that, it will either be in patch 3.4 or 3.5. It seems like there's a lot of interest, so there will be more fun experiences
Why
to come.
wouldn't they plan that from the start? That should be an obvious thing.
Because it's SE.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
Ignore the obvious.
And by the way, the goblins are making Idleshire their base, so will we be treated to Beast Tribe quests for the goblins? And Yoshida says no.
Womp womp.
The Alexander story itself kind of serves as the Beast Tribe quest line for the goblins, so we don't have any plans to add any other Beast Tribe quests for patch 3.x series. We've already pretty much settled on the content for patches 3.4 and 3.5, so we're in the planning stages now for Beast Tribes in 4.0.
I say good. Between Alexander and just the main story quest, I've had my fill of goblins.
I agree. And
we thought we had our fill of Moogles.
You know, I have to say, and I forgot to, we didn't mention this before we moved into the interview, but the little bit that we did get with the Warring Triad in 3.3, I think that was a worthy addition to side questing in FF14 as opposed to a lot of other shit that we've been given. I like that they checked back in with that storyline in a meaningful way.
Garleans.
Yeah, and the Garleans, and we find out a little bit more about Unkeki or whatever the hell his name is. Ukulele, yeah, and we find out a little bit more about his I guess where he comes from and his background, his motivations, and I think that was in terms of a narrative aspect, that may have been some of the most interesting stuff in 3.3 so far. But I like that it was not just a couple of
a solo trial too.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at, is that I like that it was not just go here, talk to this person. It was they actually sent you back in for a solo trial that was not long, not difficult, but pretty interesting.
We didn't talk about Moogle quests either. Now that we're talking about Beastmen.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Because...
Do we have to?
Why would you?
It's crafting. But I don't know. They're super easy, though.
We don't talk about crafting on the show.
But I wanted to... When we were talking about Moogles, I did want to say there actually is a quest where you craft an exploding Koopa nut, and then you trick Moogles. You trick Moogles, and then you laugh at them. That is an actual quest.
I do like laughing at Moogles.
Cool. My revenge, I feel like I'm getting my revenge.
I'm never...
It's all bad.
Never going to do them.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Have you seen the rewards, though?
No.
Moogle dance?
Fuck off, I don't give a shit.
Moogle chair?
Don't give a fuck.
Flying mount that's like a little puff of...
You know what, you can just fuck the fuck off right now. Let's talk about what was referred to in these interviews for Palace of the Dead. So asking, it's still a ways off, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the implementation for Palace of the Dead in patch 3.35. First off, with regards to participation conditions, although there are no role requirements, wouldn't it be a bit tough without any DPS? Yoshida responds, since everyone starts from level 1, the first time they enter the dungeon, there isn't much difference. A white mage using cleric stance can be pretty strong right from the start. It's quite easy to level up, so as you level, you'll gain additional actions that you can set, like raise, so it shouldn't be too bad if you keep at it.
Is this easy mode?
Is it the same as when this is... I'm going to assume that there was a typo here, but it says on the page, is it the same as when you normal up?
Normally set up where you have additional actions become available as you have them.
Oh, normally. I just seen normal. Okay, yeah. So Yoshida responds, it's the same. For efficiency, it would be better to think of the order you have your additional actions set in advance. But if you won't, but it won't make a huge difference. You should note, though, that your actions will go on recast if you change your additional actions in the dungeon.
Well, that happens in any
That's normal.
dungeon.
Yeah. Outside of anything that's not considered a town area, that will happen. So that's not terribly surprising.
Just reminding all the bads.
Game Watch asking, will participation in Palace of the Dead be through Duty Finder? Yoshida said it will be in the form of an NPC. Unlike Duty Finder content, this has no role requirements, so you can proceed with 4 DPS if you want. Although we already have free roles for things like Frontlines in Duty Finder, we want to make sure that we didn't introduce any bugs. Since Quarry Mill is the base of the exploration, you'll enter by speaking to the NPC captain in Quarry Mill. How far will you be able to progress in patch 3.35? We already know that it's going to come out with 50 floors and that they will be expanding to 200 floors in time. Is there an assumption on leveling to reach floor 50? Yoshida says it's balanced, so you'll have to be around level 60 at floors 40 and above. The last 10 floors are designed for level 60.
Interesting.
Game Watch asking, so it will not only be important to upgrade your weapons and armor, but also to level up. Yoshida responds, that's right. You will go up very fast rather than leveling up. It might feel more like increasing level sync as you gain more and more skills. For a gamer asking, will matchmaking be for people who are near each other in level? Yoshida responds, no, the matchmaking criteria is not based on level, it's based on floor progression. Palace of the Dead is broken up into 10 floor increments, so if you've beaten the 20th floor, the next time you enter matchmaking, you'll be teamed up with others who have also reached the 20th floor.
Again, kind of nice little Isle-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good, though.
Yeah, that is good.
It's good because, like, the fact that they have an automatic matchmaking solution for that, and you don't have to make a party or make a static every time you go in is great. But as you'll see in other responses, that making a static seems to be really beneficial, at least in concept, for this whole dungeon.
Well, especially if with matchmaking there's no roll requirement, so like he said, you could get queued up with 4 DPS, and I don't know how much you're gonna want that.
Yeah, you might have a point there.
I mean, he says you can do it with a 4,
But is there a restriction to how much you can enter?
They say later on that no, there is not.
So then if you get a shitty mix, you just leave and requeue.
Can you play from the first floor up through floor 50 in one run? Yoshida says yes. However, I think that would be pretty time consuming. I think it would take around 3 hours.
Oh my god, who has time for 3 hours?
That's not that time consuming.
No, that's not that bad.
I don't have time
That's
for
how
3
much
hours.
people spend doing raids on regular raid nights anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for people who want to dedicate that it's there. Like, it's possible. But for people who want to take it in 20-minute increments, that's also equally as valid. For a gamer in there asking, once you've completed the deepest floor for floor 50, what happens to future play? Yoshida says, the shining weapons that you've seen in the trailers can be used outside once they reach a certain level. So even after you get to the 50th floor, you'll want to continue to participate in order to train your weapon.
Boss.
Great
Boss.
incentive,
Perfect.
Square-Enix.
Perfect.
That is a brilliant design. Brilliant. I'm to know that there's going to be gear that comes out of this. That is fantastic.
Yep.
And it's not just weapons. They also make offhanded mentions to gear as well that you have to upgrade. Oh my god, it feels like an old MMO. I love it. It's great. I think that this is going to be a great addition, and I think the people who are on the fence about it still, they're going to really, really enjoy this. How often is your completion progress recorded? There is a boss on every 10th floor, and your progress saves after the boss. So it sounds like we'll get 9 floors worth of trash and various objectives that we have to complete, and then at 10 floor increments we're going to get a boss. Again, very much like a Nizul Isle feel.
Yep.
So your goals would be to move up each set of 10 floors. Are there any limitations on how often you can enter? Yoshida says there's no limit on how often you can enter, and you can enter immediately once you reach level 17, so please feel free to invite any of your friends to join. How exactly is the completion progress saved? Well, Yoshida says that the dungeon equipment can be enhanced with certain effects specific to the dungeon. The stat advancement on your equipment is saved, and there are 2 types of floor progression that are saved. One is personal progress flag that can be used for matchmaking. The other is a progress flag for a fixed party. For the latter, you can save data in a 4-person party, and you want to continue from that point. You'll have to gather the same 4 people from before you continue. So you can do this both ways at the same time, working on your own progress and working on progress with a fixed party.
That's
that
cool.
is also very cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Great job, Square Enix. This is the stuff that makes me go, wow, they really put a great amount of thought into this. What happens if people form 2 different parties, team up with separate party data? Although the progress is separate, the equipment strengthening is the same, so they would start from floor 1 because of the separate progress data, but their equipment will be at whatever state it was previously strengthened to. So there is kind of like a sense of permanent progression in there. So if you enter once with 4 people and then you go later with 3 of those same people, will you still restart from floor 1? In that situation, Yoshida says you'd continue from your previous progress. However, because those 3 people would have entered separately, they would not be able to proceed later on with the one person who was not there. It's a bit hard to explain it all in words, but Deep Dungeon has been designed as a throwback to the old FF style with the interface and save data. So you should be able to figure it out pretty quickly.
What?
That's an interesting statement there. A throwback to the old FF style?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, when he's talking about how you go through dungeon and you have to save your progress, like saving your game. He said it's going to feel kind of like that.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you can...
Okay, so it's like you save your game with 4 people, then you continue your game with 3 and then save it again. You rewrite over your old save file so you can't continue with that person anymore.
Right.
So
It
that's
sounds like
kind
you
of
can
what
take
he's
people
saying.
out, but you can't add them back in.
Right, because it's like a cartridge and you've saved your game.
There.
And
Interesting.
you can't, it's overwriting.
If you've already reached, say, the 20th floor, can you still restart from the first floor? Yoshida says you can do that, but you wouldn't be able to start from the 10th floor. GameWatch asking, what happens if a player who is level 10 and a player who was level 60 enter together? As I mentioned before, save data is fixed to your party, so you will have to start from floor 1, level 1. In that example, a level 60 and a level 10 friend would both start at level 1 if this is the first time that they went together. Then, if they get to the 20th floor that day, the same 2 people could re-enter the next day and resume from the 20th floor. If you go with a different with a team different from the last you teamed up with, it will warn you that the previous data will be erased. The strength of the equipment trained in the dungeon will not be lost, but the leveling progress will be reset.
So, right, you only have 1 save slot for your fixed data, basically.
Yeah. Level 60 players will eventually reach level 60 in the content, but what will happen when what will happen with a player who's only level 10? Yoshida responds that they'll reach 60 in the same way. Within the dungeon alone, you can break past the level you are outside.
That's interesting.
They'd also be able to use level 60 actions in the dungeon. Yoshida says, yes, here alone, and you can also level up to 60 even if you don't have the expansion pack.
Whoa. So it's its own separate thing.
It is literally its own system.
Is there a group of people in this game who are still playing without Heavensward?
I don't know.
I believe that there are.
There might be.
I know a few on Hyperion that do.
GameWatch asking, will the arrangement of monsters be the same every time? Yoshida says no, it will change every time along with the room layout. From floors 1 through 10, the number of rooms is small. After that, it will increase gradually. So the maps will become bigger as we go on in levels. Wow, that's amazing. I think that's
I love
great.
this.
GameWatch asking, will there be more traps as well? That will change rapidly in the beginning. They are just to annoy you, but in the second half, they can cause a big mess. Specific mention of ones that reduce your HP to 10% in one of the interviews as an example. It's intended to be casual without preparation needed, but you shouldn't just blindly charge in. Are there any rewards from this content that will have utility outside? Yoshida, if you participate enough and train your equipment so that it has the values to reach a certain level, the reward is that you can take that trained equipment outside. How strong will it be? Yoshida responds that the item level will be high enough so that it has practical use around the time of patch 3.35. However, given that you can play it as many times as you want freely, it won't be as strong as the completed Anima weapon or augmented lore equipment. So it might feel like equipment useful for a second job. Yoshida says, yeah, in addition to that, you'll be able to use it for glamour. However, the type of equipment you obtain is based on the job that you participate with, so please note that. Will experience you obtain in the dungeon be reflected outside? For the experience you obtain in the dungeon, you'll get some amount reflecting that outside, so you can use this as a resource for experience while you level up. Of course, it won't directly reflect the leveling up that happens in the dungeon. Well, it's good that there are a variety of purposes, by the way, from the name of the content with the word dead and what what you've shown, we're expecting Eda to be involved. Can you speak about that? Yoshida says, well, a certain woman was shown in the trailer, but please wait until the content is implemented. After you complete Deep Dungeon for this patch, there will be certain side quests that occur, and once you clear certain quests, a certain character's story will be completed. However, if you want to know all of the truth around that, you'll have to wait until more floors are added. Hopefully players can get excited to find out more and challenge the new floors.
About this certain character.
I know there are people looking for challenging content to participate in light parties. Is this intended to be difficult 4-person content as you get towards floor 200? Yoshida says the story will probably end around floor 100, and then the rest of the floors up through 200 would just be there as a tough challenge. That being said, please realize it's still under development. There will be ranking associated with this, and there's a little bit more. 200 floors, that's pretty deep. It should be something fun to do outside of raiding. So will all of the rankings be in a hierarchy? No, we plan to have scores for each job. And if you want to know more, you can find the full article and translated interview over at Blue Garter. Again, shout out to Slicer and all of the Blue Garter staff for their hard work and getting that information out to the community.
God, everything he says about I love it, like... There's very little in that interview that gives me pause.
Exactly.
I'm just super excited.
Deep Dungeon, I think, is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait for its implementation. All right, guys, I'm sure that there are a few of you hanging on the line that want to call in, and I know that we've got some emails to get through, but the thing is we have got to call this episode good because we've got to turn around and we've got to be ready by 4:00 to live broadcast the EA conference out at E3. That's going to be happening over at our other channel, twitch.tv/FinalEncountercast. We invite you to join us. We're going to be watching it in the stream and reacting to certain things.
Ooh, get hyped!
And then we're going to be talking about it afterwards and taking your calls. So if you'd like to react to anything that's going on the E3 convention floor, then make sure that you join us over at twitch.tv/FinalEncountercast because we're going to give you the opportunity to sound off on it and let all of our listening audience know how you feel about 2017's upcoming games. And boy, are we excited to have Kooky out there to help us cover the event. We're going to be checking in live on the show floor when we can with her. And then next week, we'll have a full presentation of our post shows of each of the E3 presentations, as well as live interviews, exclusive interviews conducted by Kooky from the show floor. We'll have that and much, much more. That's all next week at twitch.tv/FinalEncountercast. Please go tune in now to twitch.tv/FinalEncountercast as we get ready for Electronic Arts' opening keynote conference for E3 2016. I want to thank my crew, Nika Kayanian, Juxtaposition, Escalia Rayumasa. We got Papa Woody hanging out, and Kooky Persona doing great work out at E3. I'm Nero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Nero Grigori and Juxtaposition. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square-Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Captain Failboat, Zurian Urexin, Azura Giacho, Bianca Forwin, Kalina Ashsaber, Thor Carson, My Waifu, Satori Komeji, Darbykins, Sakura-chan, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music in this episode from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with the Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics cards and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.